Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the European Technology Network. We are announcing our new sponsor today, and it is Airwallex. And they gave us these cards.
We haven't made them yet.
We haven't.
But we're going to make them.
Yeah. But Luke's.
I'm in the process. I've made the engine, and I've made the chassis thing at the back. I'm now working onto this bit. Airwallex, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, you got to leave outdated business banking behind.
Just leave outdated business.
Get in the past.
Behind.
We don't want that anymore.
Just leave them behind.
It's the modern era.
Leave them behind. Get Airwallex. It's best in the biz.
This thing.
Go get them. All right, let's get some focus. We'll put this down here for now. We do have two. We will have the Lego car. You can show the same box.
Yeah, but we just, we have two. Mine is.
We are going to have
boxed.
a beautiful McLaren branded with Airwallex along the table, which will be very nice. But look,
beautiful.
The day is the 11th of November, 2025. We are live. We have a stacked guest lineup as usual. A few partners at some amazing VC firms. We've got some founders and the big dog, the man of the town at the moment, Mr. Matt Clifford, co-founder of Entrepreneur First.
Rumours of future Prime Minister, unconfirmed rumours.
The end of the show. But first off, we have Andreas Schwarzenbrunner. He's GP at SpeedInvest. He's coming on at 11:30 GMT. Marco Squarci. He's one of our favourite guys over in London. Did I pronounce that right? Squarci, I think.
Squarci?
Marco Squarci, founder and CEO of Specter. Be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade.
AKA the King of Insights, AKA the bootstrapped boss, AKA co-founder and CEO of Specter.
Let's go. Specter's a sick platform. He's going to do us a live demo, which is going to be wicked. He's awesome. Then we have Tobias Bengtsdahl. He is the GP at Antler, who may or may not be coming on with a linen blazer. I was on DM with him last night, and he mentioned that he's put it away for the winter, which is understandable. So we in our we're now in our
now wearing our Valerian.
Thanks to Max.
Beautiful Valerian merch.
But I don't know. It's up for discussion. He might be joining with his linen blazer on. We will see. When I asked what he wanted to talk about, his response was, I want to talk about kicking some Nordic/European founder ass on thinking bigger. So will be good to get into that. Then we have Fred Oliveira. He's the co-organizer of LisbonAI and VP of engineering at Capital Factory. Big guy on X. So he owns the on X, @F.
It's one of the most goated ats I've ever seen.
It's pretty wicked. So
we had a call.
I don't know how that. Yeah, what did you say?
To book that. We haven't discussed the username and the origin stories of that. But we had like a prep call, just like a call to get talk about the show a bit more, all that good stuff.
Does that work?
And we just spoke about design and. He's a big fan of brand and taking time to create.
Yeah, he is.
Nice.
We all know that brand is the delta in general building a business now.
No, yeah, it was a really good conversation.
To win.
We didn't even speak about the show, which usually means it was a good conversation. And then obviously Matt Clifford, the birthday boy.
The birthday boy, yeah, it was 2 days ago.
2 days ago, the birthday boy.
The 9th of November, I believe.
Just turned 18th birthday. But there are rumours going around. Obviously, Matt is the man of the hour. After the speech at Looking for Growth, it went viral. It went mega viral. It reached the US. People were saying, this is like a historical moment, and it's given us a real good opportunity to try and put that energy that he had on stage, get it into a bottle, and I want to drink some of that Kool-Aid. I want a big gulp of that Kool-Aid over there from Matt Clifford. But there are rumours going around now, a possible future PM off the back of the speech at Looking for Growth. Matt had some momentum. People are now saying look, this guy is very well equipped to make the UK rich again. This led into, I think it was Harry Stebbings that started this train of, I'm going to put down 100K to support Matt running, and Alex over at Sequel, great friend of ours, matched that, and then I think Barney at Clio came in over the top with a $1 million pledge as well. So rumors, nothing confirmed whatsoever, but would be good to chat with him about that, of course. But
well, he's just the man of the hour, right? And it will be interesting to see if he, what his thoughts are. I don't know if he's ever had this kind of press before. It's been in. It was in Sifted the other day with an article saying "Make the UK rich again," which obviously is great. Or sorry, "Make Britain rich again." Labour should celebrate Britain's new golden age of entrepreneurship. And this is an article by John Thornhill. He said, Entrepreneurs First, co-founder Matt Clifford recently became a viral sensation after delivering a punchy and very un-British message: "We have to make the UK rich again." And obviously kind of talks about the extraordinary history Britain has had in discovery and invention. Clifford said...
We can pull this up, actually.
Yeah, let's pull this up.
Get it on the
but
stream.
Must now act urgently to remove all the cultural and legal institutional cruft stopping economic growth. Almost all of our other problems are downstream from stagnation, he said in an impassioned speech at Looking for Growth event last month. Wealth as a nation gives us choices. Interesting. They, Entrepreneurs First collectively raised $10 billion, created more than 8,000 jobs. That is just British businesses overall. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to talk to him, because he is now front runner to kind of lead this renaissance, as they say.
No, it's great. He's a great anchor point, right, for growth in the space and the time we did it. Seems like a legend as well, obviously 100%, but like.
Well, we will see.
Yeah, I'm
1:30 p.m.
It was that short film from. What's that guy's name? The one that Alex sent us, the tutor. He built that short film about we don't build great things anymore in Britain.
Yeah. And it was showing train stations, how say like King's Cross St Pancras is just an unbelievable building and one of the most beautiful buildings in London, right? And then you kind of go to, I don't know, Surbiton.
Not great. Yeah.
It's just like a square.
But it's more like even that older stuff is still the older, less like a little bit out of the sticks or whatever. It's still, I'd rather that than some of these like new modern grey blocks of sludge that they're just throwing out there. Like I saw a tweet the other day where some town in the UK had spent all of the local taxpayers' money, each sort of smaller area will probably have not a lot of money, but maybe an amount of cash to deploy, and they spent it all on developing a new train station, which is great because now you've got people coming in and out, higher footfall for the town, and it looked like a prison.
Yeah,
it looked like just a bit like a big grey concrete slab. And someone retweeted it I fixed it for you. Had obviously run it through GPT or Nano Banana or something like that, some sort of image editing software, but turned it into a Victorian style station. And immediately, even though obviously it's AI, but immediately you can see you just feel better about it. It just looks nice. It's easy on the eyes. It doesn't make you sad. It's not grey and cementy and blocky and you know what I mean?
Make beautiful buildings again.
Minecraft, 100%. But this is what it sounds weird, but I think there are great parallels in what Matt's saying, because you look at the amazing, buildings across London. One of my favourite things to do around London is just walk around. You can
genuinely
walk for
one of the
hours.
most beautiful cities.
Fully is, and a lot of the European cities as well. But that. We were well capitalized to create incredible structures, obviously because we were essentially we had an empire at one point, right? Which again, controversial topic, but at the same time, wealth can bring choices and better infrastructure and
what brings prosperity that therefore brings time, I guess, and then and choice.
Yeah, he summed it up so well.
Yeah,
wealth as a nation just gives us choices, and it does. It just raises the standard of living. But
so look, it's going to be very, very good to talk to him. He's coming on at the end of the show for 20 minutes, and it will be exciting times. In other news, I want to touch on Anthropic. They have just opened.
Let's pull it up.
2 office locations in Paris and in Munich, in Germany. They're hiring very aggressively in Europe, and it is their fastest growing region, according to Sifted. Anthropic says EMEA has become one of the fastest growing regions, with the company's flagship AI model, Claude, being adopted by customers including BMW, Sanofi, as well as startups like Lovable, N26, and Dr. Lib, which is some French, like Decacorn or something, unicorn maybe. Yeah, I mean, props to them, I guess. Like, that's pretty cool.
No, it's good to see. It makes me feel good, that you can have these options for these like incredible companies. Like, this is obviously it's one of the coolest companies in the world, right? To work at. Like, you tell people you work there. That's like it's almost like a status thing now, actually. But I like how, it comes back to this whole thing. One, obviously, like expansion plans and capturing market, but like 2 is, I feel like it makes a lot of sense for Anthropic in particular, like less so OpenAI, just pure, well, one, okay, yeah, there's talent there, like discounted talent in Europe, as we always know. Like, the common theme seems to be,
well, I don't know. I mean, so Anthropic, there was news that came out the other day. Anthropic is aggressively hiring in its existing European hubs, offering salaries up to £340,000 to top AI engineers in London. That is like, what's that? Maybe $500K?
Yeah, something like that, 450.
Still, I guess for like top AI engineering talent, you're kind of
touching the size.
It's not touching the size.
Some of these guys are saying no to billion dollars. Obviously, this isn't like the super intelligent.
But is this this is going to be equity package as well? I assume. They're not.
Well, if they're throwing in equity as well as, if that 300K is including equity, then there's no way they're hiring. Because like, that's not unfortunately, but like, that would have to be just base salary. It would have to be just base salary. It wouldn't seem attractive. But like, with regards to, like, for Anthropic, I think it makes a lot more sense, because I'm pretty sure like a very large portion of their revenue comes from enterprise contracts instead of like the consumer angle, right? Like, OpenAI is dominated, the revenue is just dominated by consumer. It's a consumer product. Anthropic, on the other hand, decided to go straight for like enterprise. You're seeing OpenAI now kind of like pivot into enterprise. But Anthropic seems to be the go-to platform for like enterprise. And you can know that just from like talking to people, right? Like, everyone when they think of, who's not really in the tech bubble, when they think of like AI stuff, the first thing that comes to their mind is like GPT. And now that's become like a verb.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'll get an Uber, or like blah, blah, or like, I'm going to Uber it.
Just go and check.
Just GPT it. GPT'd it. It's like Googled it. But it's very consumer baked. It's very consumer coded. Where I think like Anthropic is more.
It's a lower barrier, but it means
focused.
You have to have this. Yeah, you've got to have the scale. I think a lot of the people that I know who work in tech or are tapped into tech, they're using Claude more than they are ChatGPT. They realise that, like, the LLM's better. I've always found Claude to. I mean, I've used both. I've always found Claude to I want to say hallucinate more in terms. I just don't feel like I trust it. It feels too much more of a closed
you got
closed feeling when I'm when I'm using Claude, whereas on GPT I feel like it's
trusted.
I feel higher trust.
Maybe they need to like turn down the friendliness meter on the.
Maybe they do.
Maybe
they do, but that's my personal opinion. I'm maybe you feel like you use.
To be honest, like I don't really use Claude that much. Like, and to be honest, I only really use GPT as like minor tasks, but like kind of as a search engine now, which is like hypocritical because I'm about to say that like I actually don't fully trust. Like, I remember ages ago I ran like a poker hand through GPT and was like, this is where I'm at in this hand, like this is the position I'm in, this is like the flop action. Like, what is the right play here?
Yeah.
What's the highest percentage chance of me like winning this pot, whatever, like based off what play? And it gave me like a play, and I was pretty sure that it was wrong. So I had like a buck on like pre-flop ranges and this sort of stuff. And I went to the book and looked in the book, and it was like the book was like, oh no, like, you should do this. And GPT gave me a different answer. Mm-hmm. So I asked it, and I was like, you 100% sure this is right? Like, and then it was like, this was back when it was like super like, yeah, like, yes, you are so smart.
You are amazing.
Like, when it was just like literally agreeing with everything.
What a great take.
Yeah. Which is like, again, like, let's just pick that up and ignore it, like, because you always kind of have to disregard whatever, it's always just going to be great idea or great. But like the actual,
I'm £300,000 in debt, but I'm going to buy a Ferrari.
Yeah, it's like,
oh, what a great take!
Wow,
like,
you're really thinking about it. Ferrari's a great car. It's like, it's like I just heard a bit about.
What about my debt problem?
My family that needs money. Ignoring all that. But it got it wrong, and then I was like, oh, you sure? And then it was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. But, so ever since then, and obviously this was like a year and a half ago, so there's obviously been like incredible upgrades to the model since. But ever since then, I was kind of like, ooh, like, don't really like that, And it's weird, like with consumers, I guess kind of with enterprises as well, but with consumers, it's kind of like, once you break the trust once, it's very, very hard to get it back.
Yeah, that's standard procedure in any kind of company, I guess, right? So
I want to talk.
I just want to touch quickly.
You got some else?
On just this European like expansion kind of thing, this kind of story. The Sifted article had a really cool bit at the bottom, competing for talent, and I just want to read it out. So competition for AI talent is heating up across Europe, pitting well-funded homegrown rivals like France's Mistral alongside big tech players. They've recently expanded to the region. OpenAI has opened an office in Paris and in Munich earlier this year. Canada and US-based AI startup Cohere also set up shop in the French capital. Google is opening a 4,000-person office literally just down the road where we are in London later this year, and Microsoft is planning a new AI hub in the UK capital. It's like heating up. You can literally see offices kind of sprouting literally everywhere. We're around King's Cross area in London, and the Google office is like so wow. We have an office next to the Google office, and you can see what's going on. The gym is mental in the Google office.
Really?
And it's already got kit in it.
Yeah, I went in there.
It's already got kit in it. So it's not being used at the moment, but you can see like the builders like doing gym on the lunch break. For gas.
Wait, is this the
new Google office?
The one that's being built next to King? I think it might be Facebook.
No, it's not. It's Google.
But Google is in front of us.
Yeah. But they're moving from. Do you know that big one next to our office?
Yeah, maybe it is Google.
That is Google.
But I've been in the one that's there. I remember I went in
the original Google, not original Google office, but the
one that's up now. The one that people are working in right now.
Yeah.
I went in there and like, dude, I went in for lunch. I had a meeting there. So we were working across the road when we were at Convergence, and the food was nuts. Like it was similar to Stripe actually when we went to Stripe. Like the food there was incredible and it was very nice. But like the Google one was just out of this world. It was like a next level of. Like, I felt like I like sort of crawled out my pre-seed like AI startup into like Google and was like, I don't know, it looked like I hadn't been fed in like a year because I was just like piling stuff on my plate. Like, and everyone else has like a time because they're all probably so bored of the food that they've got like a potato and like one bit of broccoli, and I'm there with like 3 chicken breasts and like a load of rice and just piling it on.
Stack up.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing.
Well, you got to get that protein in, right? So,
true that.
Good stuff.
Would love to talk about Brian Johnson. We can pull something up from him as well. He basically took a load of shrooms recently, and he live streamed it. He live streamed the shroom taking. So Brian, obviously everyone knows who he is now. Brian Johnson, Don't Die, is going like super crazy on sort of, I guess in his own words, conquering death. And he So Kate Tolo, you've seen his post, he's Brian's co-founder, took over his X account today as Brian took 5 grams of magic mushrooms to sort of explore the effects. You know, people are saying that microdosing it can be beneficial in certain areas in terms of like cognitive function and whatnot and creativity. And they took his phone, and Kate decided to report on how Brian was doing through the trip. And this is quite nuts, I think, because this is like, you know, aside from the fact that like this is the realm that he works in, he is like a huge founder. He's like a massive founder, and he's like live streaming himself like in black and white. It's like taking quotation marks drugs on the stream. But let's see if we can just scroll through this thread here. Here we go of it officially hitting, and he decided to just kind of chill.
There was a great tweet about. So there's the stage one is Brian just like having a nap, just like on the floor with like, you know, mattress, all of this kind of stuff. And there was a great tweet. It was like your friend on a Tuesday at 3 p.m. Working from home.
Oh yeah.
I said that to one of my mates.
Completely conked out.
Who that is that.
Yeah, no, I hear that. But no, really cool. Thought this was like quite funny. The whole thread is very interesting. I'd advise going to check it out. But I think it's different. You know, it's kind of like
it's what X is all about. It's literally what X is all about. I kind of agree
though, but now it's making me. It's like, okay, this guy's just a normal guy. Like, okay, he's not 100% normal, but
I don't know if he's normal.
He's. I like the fact that we can kind of come along with him on the journey. I like the fact that he's kind of like, you know, he's not just sort of like.
He's just experimenting stuff, you know. I always feel like when he's out and about, like, is that not going to ruin surely just cry chamber yourself type thing. Like, if you really want to like live for like a few hundred years.
I wonder if he's looked into that.
He must have done. Maybe not freeze himself, because like that's kind of cheating, but.
That is kind of cheating.
That is kind of cheating. But what I want him to do, what I'd love him to do is, because like, I feel like when he's out and about on like podcasts and stuff, like, you know, it's raising his blood pressure, the questions that are saying, you know, that are being given to him, maybe that's making him stress and all this kind of stuff. It's like, all of that is very, very micro, but
he operates in the micro realm.
Yeah, exactly. And he has you know, surely he can see those effects. He's got some form of Whoop band on or whatever to show the effects of general daily life. And surely he should look at his day, and I'm sure he does, and like go, what are the small micro things that I can take out of my day that reduce stress? Because stress has a huge impact on life expectancy. And how can I minimize all of that? And I feel like going on, you know, like social media is a dopamine thing, but you know, you might see a comment about you or whatever, and obviously he's in the limelight, and it's like that's stressful. Going on podcasts is stressful. The bright lights, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like, it's
super valid.
I'm a bit like, hey dude, like chill out. Like
maybe it would be better, but then at what point, like, I think he'd have to become like a martyr. Then it's like he's literally given up his life for the greater good of science.
He kind of is already.
True.
I mean, obviously it's become his life now, so it's like, you know, that's fine. But, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But I think I'm all for it. You know, he had 5 stages, posted all about it.
Yeah, definitely go check it out because it's quite
very hilarious. Interesting. There's one where he's quite hilarious.
He's trying. What was it?
He posted a tweet said, "Hi all, I'm just happy to be alive."
Yeah, that banged. He got like 30k likes or something.
And then someone, got 1.8 million views. Someone commented with you know, when Katy Perry went up to space and Jeff Bezos's thing, and then came off and then kissed the ground. Yeah, she like didn't even go into. She didn't even, but she went on to the Origin.
It's gone for like an hour. That's so fun.
Which is great stuff. So everyone mogging people on X, we love to see it.
Yeah. Well, we got our next guest coming on shortly. While we are just waiting for him to come on, let me tell you about our brand new friends over there at Airwallex. We want to leave outdated business banking behind. It's the all-in-one financial platform built for the space of modern businesses, multi-currency accounts, high-speed international transfer to corporate cards, expense management, and online payments, all in one platform.
Boom.
Love
Leave
to see
outdated
that.
business banking behind.
Leave it in the past.
Stupid.
Let it go.
So just go and do it. Right, I think we have our first guest on. Let's just go to our producer and
We have
see.
Andreas coming in hot. Do we have him live on air?
Andreas, can you see us? Hear us?
Welcome to the European Technology Network, my friend. Can you hear us?
No. Oh, here we go. Andreas, can you hear us?
Yes, now I hear you guys.
Amazing.
There we go.
How's it going, Andreas?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much for
the pleasure
joining
is
us.
all ours, my friend. Welcome.
My first live show. I'm afraid that I say anything stupid that we cannot cut out.
It goes
Hey,
straight
dude,
out.
we say everything.
Yeah, everything
we say many
is
stupid things.
So yeah, maybe our stupidness will just like deflate everything else that you come out with. But welcome to the show. We have so much to talk about. Where should we start? I'm thinking, can we maybe break down SpeedInvest, very, very popular brand, especially in Europe. What is SpeedInvest? Where are you guys focusing? And then maybe a bit on your role as well. And then we have a few more questions to jump into.
Happy to give a quick overview of what we have built and where we want to go. And by the way, I've realized what I saw everyone brings gifts to the show. So I promise next time I'm in London, I bring you a gift as well.
Thanks. We're pretty sad we didn't get a gift.
No, we love that. Okay,
No,
we'll wait for the gift.
I need to think about something cool. We started 14 years ago, and out of actually Vienna, Austria, which is a very unusual place to start a venture capital fund. Investing more or less as kind of like an angel club in Austria and CEE. This is where we started. So pre-seed, seed, really try to be in as early as possible, try to be the first investor on the cap table, and then expanded all across Europe. So opened an office in Munich, then Berlin, then London, then Paris. Also have people on the ground in Amsterdam, and also had some on the ground in Stockholm, Madrid. So really try to cover all of Europe. That's what we have built. The core hypothesis always stayed the same. So we want to be the first investor who partners up the companies, or the first institutional investor in, really focus on the first 3, 4, 5 years, working with the companies very closely, really try to increase the likelihood of success, and really try to be the first partner in, and focusing on pre-seed and seed, investing up to 5 million. That's, I would say, is the core. And then there's a lot of things we do around that to make this happen. A lot of funds, I would say, pitch the same things. We help you on hiring, we help you on biz staff. We really help you to expand all across Europe, which we can do as a pan-European fund. And all those things we do as well. So we really try to work very closely in these first 3 years to really help the company raise a grade A, raise a grade B. That's the one. And I think the second is, over the last 3 years, we also have, of course, then realized we have this huge portfolio of amazing pre-seed and seed companies, and also build up a growth fund where we can then invest really in the winners, or companies that we missed, or maybe companies that we lost, but really invest in the best companies from Series B onwards in Europe, and really try to capitalize on the network that we have here. I would say what sets us apart, or 2, 3 things I would say where we are different. So the first is really pan-European. I think it's super hard to do that in Europe. Europe is still a very fragmented ecosystem. You have the Nordics, you have UK, you have France, you have Germany, you have the Netherlands, Switzerland. You have like a lot of ecosystems that are all great, and all are great for some things, and some of them are bigger, like London and Paris. But in the end of the day, it's really hard to do all of them at the same time. And especially in pre-seed seed, you need to be on the ground, and you need to really know the ecosystem to see the best deals very early on. So pan-European, I think, is one. The second is, we realized in the last 3 years, I mean, the good founders can choose where the money comes from, right? If you're honest, like, good companies, good founders can always raise capital, and they always have multiple offers on the table. So what really convinces them to take us? And this is where we have built sector teams that are really focused on specific sectors, let's say healthcare and tech bio, or let's say deep tech, that have dedicated network, have a dedicated list of follow-on investors, co-investors, angels, have knowledge in the respective fields for their specific vertical. So founders don't want a generalist investor who asks them generic questions about, yeah, but how does your go-to-market strategy look like? So if you're a deep tech founder who builds something in chips, you want to have someone who understands the value chain of semiconductors, right? So it's like, otherwise it's a very like uneven discussion. And that's why we build 6 sector teams that all have very dedicated knowledge and network in their specific sectors. And that's the second part, I think, where we are different. So they work very autonomously within the sectors, covering that all across Europe. And the third is we have this huge pool of also corporate partners and a network that we bring to the table. So not only experts, knowledge, but also customers. And at the end of the day, a company wants 2 things, right? They want our money and they want customers. And if you can bring them customers, that is what actually really sets you apart. And that's where we build up a very big pool of SME enterprise customers that are part of our network, where we really help them on closing the first deals, increasing the likelihood then therefore that you raise the next round, etc., and really help them on BizDev and do that all across Europe. I think I'd say that's in a nutshell a bit what we do and how we do things at SpeedInvest.
Awesome nutshell. Thanks for the explanation. I want to ask about the you mentioned the teams and very sector focused in certain teams, right? What's the team at the moment who's like the busiest right now? Obviously, there's a huge focus on defense tech at the moment. Is that maybe something that is getting the most, is the most attractive for SpeedInvest? What's the like kind of outlook from you guys?
Yeah, I would say defense definitely is an area that is quite interesting at the moment. I mean, if you would have told someone 5 years ago you're building a defense tech company, everyone would have looked at you kind of crazy. And also no one wanted to see that you invest in defense companies. I think that has changed massively. So defense is definitely a hot area at the moment. The second, I think, is definitely our health and bio team, because this intersection of AI and bio and life science is something where a lot of things now happen in the organization. From disease detection to drug discovery, there's so many things on this intersection between AI and healthcare and life science now possible, and that create like a lot of opportunities. All very big markets can create really large companies. So this is also an area where, especially last 2-3 years, we have seen a lot. The third is, of course, everything around on the application layer of AI. I mean, AI is a bit everything, right? Every one of our sector teams is, of course, driven by trends in AI. But I think where we see a lot is really sector-specific AI applications. Is it on industrial, let's say, automating procurement? Is it really on healthcare, as I said? Is it on specific productivity topics like automating customer support or other topics? Or is it really on new foundational applications that are very industry specific, where you need certain domain expertise, domain knowledge to really make this happen? So I would say like everything around, so to say, that value stack of AI is definitely the third topic that kept us very busy over the last year.
That's awesome. You mentioned just on the intro, like this like specialization of maybe like partners or the investors on SpeedInvest team, and obviously like we're seeing this across the whole of VC, right? Like the phrase you used, like maybe a couple of years ago, it'd be like, what's your GTM strategy? And it's a single investor that isn't essentially like specialized in a particular vertical. Is that just like, let's rewind like, I don't know, 20 years maybe, or maybe 15 years. Like investors' jobs were, here's the money kind of thing. Like that's where you go to get the money, you get the money off them, and then you kind of go and build your company. But now it's like, you will have the luxury of having like someone who does know the semiconductor sort of supply chain, talking to a deep tech founder. Is that a competitor move, like from like is that due to competition essentially among VCs? Like how much value can each VC add past the cash alone? And that's just one domino in like a multifaceted thing on how we compete with each other.
I would say it's 2-3 things. So first, it's definitely driven by competition, because if you look at the European landscape, how it evolved over the last 20 years, There are now so many funds out there. I even discover new funds on a weekly basis that I've never heard about, right? So there's so many new funds out there that are really trying to win deals. So it's definitely driven also by competition. You need to be very specific on what you stand for, why a founder should choose you, etc. The second is also, I think it's also due to the maturity of the ecosystem. You have now way more proficient, on the one hand, proficient investors in their specific verticals, but you also have now founders that know way better what they want, what they need, and what it takes to build a great company. You have now the first founders who built the second or third generation of companies. You see ecosystems like London, Berlin, Munich, or Paris are actually quite mature already. So it's also driven a bit, let's say, I would say the demand from founders has also massively increased, especially the good ones. So they really know what really would help them in their journey. And this is also what they would expect from an investor. And the third, I would say, is also, of course, that you had over the last 10 years, especially last 10 years, you had more and more US investors also investing into Europe. And that is a bit tied to the competition topic, but they, of course, also raised the bar, because in the US, you already had investors or ecosystems that are 30, 40 years old, and they really have seen multiple cycles. They have seen great companies. They have seen IPOs. So also, of course, they raised the bar, and also for European investors, because now you're competing head to head, right? And there are deals where a US-based fund does a seed deal in London or Paris, right? Those things happen. And that's why I think that also brought in a very, would say, good competitive spirit into the market, that people really see, okay, you need to step up your game in order to win the best deals.
Mm-hmm. And is that the fact that you guys are kind of based in Europe and you have that pan-European kind of, people on the ground basically everywhere, right? Is that's a competitive advantage for these guys? Obviously, like, you're seeing a lot more US capital coming into Europe at the moment. And I'm sure like the competition is just kind of going up and up and up as time goes on. Is that one of your value adds, I guess?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the value adds, and I actually would say the US money is rather going down than up, I have to say. I think like until like 22, it was definitely a trend that a lot of US funds opened offices in Europe, invested more in Europe. Now it's more, again, I would say, declining to some extent. Some of them closed shop in Europe, etc. So I would say it's a mixed picture, but it's definitely something where at an early phase, you want someone on the ground or someone close who really work with you like very intensively. I think that's one, but the other is also, if you are a founder and you raise a seed, let's say, let's stick to a SpeedInvest example, right? If you do pre-seed and seed, if you raise a pre-seed or seed with a US-based fund and they invest like 2 million in your company and they manage $1 billion fund, right? It's you either grow extremely fast in the next 2-3 years, or you don't matter at all, right? And then no one cares about you. And so, and I think that is also what I realized, which is quite interesting, that especially experienced founders who have done it for the second or third time are very picky who they choose for the first phase of the company, because they always know, if I'm doing well, I can always go to those guys and raise an A or B, because they have the flexibility, they have the firepower to also do larger rounds later. And I'm not necessarily the best partner for the first phase of the journey. And that is why I think also a lot of pre-seed seed funds in Europe that are either sector focused or have a very strong geographic footprint, still have a right to win and still see a lot of great companies. I mean, some of them you have also had on your show already, right? And I think that will still exist, because there is, of course, a certain advantage it has for founders in this early phase.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Europe in general, you were recently at a Future of Europe event and you put a post up on LinkedIn, and there was a cool quote in there. Which went something like, somewhere along the last 2 to 3 decades, we lost our belief in Europe in capitalism as a positive force and in science and technology as an engine of progress. That markets and growth are actually something that work for, not against society. It's time to get that belief back. Can you talk about this? Because this is very thematic in some of the conversations we are planning to have today.
Yeah, I mean, I like at all those conferences, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, at all those conferences, you always have the same discussions. Like people are like, okay, complain about the regulatory framework, or that Europe regulates too much, doesn't innovate, and all those topics. And I always think those discussions kind of run also in circles. And I also believe at the same time that Europe has improved a lot, right? It's also, people don't see the differences like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And sometimes we always look at the present, but actually, if you look at where we're coming from, a lot of it has happened. And also the urgency in Europe has massively increased, right? I mean, 10 years ago, no politician ever would have talked about venture capital. You wouldn't even know what it is. Right, and now it is like a really important driver of like how can we get back growth, how can we get back into let's say global competition with the US and China. But I think that the underlying theme that I think sometimes worries me the most is exactly that, right? I think if you ask, by the way, there was a second quote that I put in there, but it was also from that conference. It was like a former president of the European Commission who said, like, because of the discussion, like, why don't we have a capital markets union, right? It's also a topic that always comes up. Like, and he said, it's very easy because a lot of countries don't like capital, a lot of countries don't like markets, and a lot of European countries don't like a union. So there's no capital markets union. And I think that that this is true for many European countries. We are a bit skeptical about everything that is related to capitalism. And I also think this has gotten a bit worse. And also we are skeptical around about new innovation and technology. I mean, AI is the best example, right? We're talking about how can we, I don't know, save our old automotive OEMs. But we actually never talk about, okay, the world has moved on. What do we need to be competitive in 10, 20 years? What do we need to invest in? What are the capabilities we need from the whole data infrastructure side to what does a car mobility in the future look like? I mean, the problem is a bit in Europe that we don't lack the capital or the know-how. We do have the knowledge and we have amazing engineering talent in universities. Our problem is often that we are afraid of changing things and afraid of the future to some extent. And that is, I think, where the US is like, that's the biggest difference, I think, is that if something doesn't work, they kill it and they do something else, right? They're very unsentimental about that. And they're like, okay, it doesn't work, let's do something else. And we are, and we take way too long to realize that and focus on something new. And I think that the core topics are that we don't believe that, let's say, market forces are for good, right? To kind of, we sometimes think we need to fight against it because we can change it. That's a bit also the European narrative. But I don't think this is true. It just takes long. You basically just drag it out, but it will happen sooner or later. And I think this is where we need to get back into understanding that, first of all, we need growth if we want to sustain prosperity in Europe and if we want to sustain our welfare state as it is, we need growth. Second is technology and science is nothing bad, but it's a driver of growth. And this is like scientifically proven if you look at the last centuries, right? And the third is also that in the end, market forces will win. And the sooner we adapt, the better we are off. And I think we need to understand those key fundamentals, I think, because the rest of the ingredients in Europe, I personally believe are actually there.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? It's like we almost have everything we need in terms of talent, I guess maybe capital as well to an extent, not as much as the US, but it's that, like need to oppose like market forces. Like I like what you say there, where it's kind of, it's inevitable, right? It's a very efficient thing, the market. It will always find its equilibrium wherever it is. Yeah, interesting. I mean, we have Matt Clifford coming on later today, who recently gave a speech at Looking for Growth, a movement in the UK, which I think got some traction. You may have seen it. And I love his position. Maybe it's more UK focused, less Europe. Obviously, he has, he wants Europe to be rich again as well, of course. But a lot of it is just making Britain and the UK rich again in a way, which is like parallels to growth as well. Like growth is a good thing. He says it gives options essentially. But yeah, no, there are a lot of parallels there.
And that is because you mentioned the capital piece. I actually don't agree that the US has more capital. I think the question is just like, where is it invested, right? Europeans are really, really good investing in bonds, real estate, a lot of asset classes that are not necessarily driver of growth. And also, if you look at where the money from US VC or private equity comes from, I mean, a big chunk of it are European LPs, right? If you would reallocate parts of what European LPs invest in US funds to European firms, I mean, I would be massively inflow of capital, right? And I think that is a bit also what Matt mentioned also in is like, it's really this like, we focus on what we have, on those things that drive growth and that drive prosperity, because the means are there. They're just stuck in the wrong channels, and it's very hard to basically fix it. Because if you look at where pension funds are invested, where insurance companies in Europe are invested, it's not that they don't have the capital stack. It's just that it doesn't it's not built for investing in risk, investing in growth, investing in VC or PE. And I think this is where a lot of it would change already by investing what we have in the future. And this is the same is true for other areas of the government that he also spoke about. And I think also if you look at other European countries, it's the same. Is like, if you look where we spend our money, it's a lot on like a retirement scheme, on interest, on healthcare. But if you look at where actually only a small chunk of the money goes, is education, universities, innovation, technology. If you look at this, then it's actually tiny compared to what we spend on other things. But those things are basically the breeding ground for future growth.
Interesting.
Awesome. I think we're out of time.
Yeah, we are. We are 1 minute over, actually.
Time flies. Yeah, that's 20 minutes. Good stuff. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on. It's such an interesting conversation. And yeah, we're bullish on SpeedInvest and what you guys are doing. And yeah, we'll have to get you back on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Andreas.
thanks for having me. Always happy to come back, and next time bring you a present.
yeah, we'll follow up about the present. But we got to get that. Cheers, mate.
Good stuff, Andreas. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.
Bye.
Super
Good
interesting.
conversation.
I like that. Misallocation of the resources. You know, we got the cash. There's enough cash there.
I don't know if it was. I don't want to name drop him for no reason, but someone said it's misallocation, and I can't remember who it was. But I think it's true. Like it's what he was saying, where if people in Europe, investors in Europe, were to flood money into Europe instead of into kind of US firms, the influx of capital would be like vast. And it's interesting. I don't know what, like, if that is a solution. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that is
apart from like forcing them to. You can't be like, you have to now send money to Europe.
Yeah.
Probably,
not a thing. And look, we're not like, we're not trying to preach that is the solution at all. I think we're strong for kind of global prosperity, and global prosperity includes the prosperity of Europe and the UK and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but just a quick word from our sponsor, Workspaces to make your everyday extraordinary. Go to Fora, premium flexible workspaces that drive performance, productivity and well-being. Be surrounded by greatness and rub shoulders with some of the world's most exciting companies like Convergence.
That's
you work at Fora.
Yeah, we got acquired. If you're working at Fora, you get acquired.
Exactly.
You heard it here first. That is financial advice.
These gilets are too good. They're
so warm.
They're so warm.
I'm incredibly
also,
warm.
They're kind of getting in my mic space.
So. Yeah, true actually.
But thank you very much,
really
Max.
Warm, but, which means it's working.
Yeah, the gilets work. Well done. Congratulations.
Warm at what cost? Like, it's a fashion piece.
Exactly. Next up, we have Marco Squarci. He is the CEO and co-founder of Specter,
aka the bootstrapped boy, aka the king of insights, aka
he's going to do a few live demos with us as well, which is going to be cool. We're going to talk about his origin story and all of that good stuff. So it is going to be good. I want to touch on Robinhood. The story came out of the Financial Times the other day. I think it was yesterday, I believe. If you pull it up onto the stream, Robinhood wants to allow amateur traders to invest in AI startups. I want to know if this is a good idea or not. US broker Robinhood plans to give amateur investors a route to put money into private artificial intelligence companies whose valuations had vastly increased. Chief Executive Vlad Tenev told the Financial Times that he is more interested in giving normal people exposure to the rapid growth of private AI companies than worrying about whether a bubble is forming in this sector. I think that's a great take, first of all. Second of all, so Robinhood, obviously, US company, they did open in the UK, I think May this year, maybe last year, something like that, fairly recently. So people over here can reap the rewards of this fund if it's going to happen, or has it happened? I don't know.
So they rolled out tokenized shares of OpenAI and SpaceX.
Yes, true.
It was to the they launched the beta in the EU, and with the US couldn't get in.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. But that as well, the UK couldn't get in as well. But that was like really interesting. And I've spoke to a couple of people, and like kind of no one, because OpenAI put out a tweet after that was like, basically like, hey, this isn't cool. Like no one from our side has okayed.
Yeah. So like they did a whole swanky like event.
But again, then what are you buying then? Are you like, does it then become like a financial derivative? You know what I mean? Like essentially they're buying a bet. If you're buying a tokenized asset of OpenAI, are you just on the receiving end of someone else's trade? If that makes sense. Yeah,
you are. So it's what Paddy was saying.
No one
the other
owns.
Day. It's like an SPV and an SPV type thing, where it's so you're benefiting off someone. So you don't actually directly own the shares. You own the shares in the SPV, which then own the shares in
No, but there's no
like
shares.
Another structure.
There's no shares.
Well, no, okay, fine. You own whatever.
So I own your. Let's say you're like, I think OpenAI is going to go up. Am I buying?
You're not just buying my sentiment. Although Robinhood did do a deal with Squarci actually the other day.
I love those guys.
Yeah, they are cool. Yeah, in March, Robinhood partnered with Squarci to launch its own prediction market business, offering traders shares in binary outcomes. Whether a basketball team wins or loses, for example, amid a wider explosion in gambling in the US on sports, politics, and pop culture events. Obviously, this is a massive thing in the US. Europe and the UK haven't quite got there yet, but
have we not got them because of like regulations?
I think it's regulatory. It is regulatory.
They're having so much fun over there.
So much
prediction
fun.
market.
So much fun. We need to get a prediction market going. That'd be quite cool. So like whoever wants to do that, come on the show and we can help you launch it. That'd be quite fun.
Yeah, is there anyone building this in the
public call out? Is there anyone building a prediction market in Europe?
I mean, why would you build one when there's not allowed to be a market for it? No one's probably building it.
No, I feel like a VC.
Unless it's like,
I feel like a VC would like that story. That's a nice early.
But I feel like it's like guaranteed dead end. With that,
like, at the moment,
like zero chance.
At the well, I guess it's like you're just too early. But like,
I wonder if
you could do it in Europe. You could try and do it in Europe, and by the time you've built it, can you?
You're banking on a lot there.
You're banking on a lot, but then I guess you could like pivot to the US. I don't know.
Yeah, you can to the US.
But I don't know. I think it's interesting if they're going to create this fund, with just normal investors being able to invest in private companies.
Normal people.
Normal people being able to invest in private companies, especially with the AI boom. I don't know, is that like...
I think that cures it, man. I think that cures it.
Cures what?
Cures these, this bubble fear, man. From
but they're saying you can't like pump and dump type thing where like you buy and you can't. Like if you want to sell, it's not like you can. There's liquidity like straight away. It's not like a public stock.
But like, surely there would be someone else on the receiving end to buy that. Like,
I assume so.
Do you know what I mean?
But I guess if
there's
like
enough demand where you could easily offload a couple opening up.
Whatever this said bubble is, if it does pop, it's yeah, I don't know.
I'm always at the like if you're investing money, like you should. No one is accountable for anyone for like.
No, not at all.
You are 100%. Like if someone came up to me and was like, "Oh, like invest like a," you know, like lied loads, I guess, and like asked me for £1 million. Not that I have £1 million, but like, and I gave them £1 million. Like that's not me.
Dude, if you got someone to give you, if you gave someone £1 million,
yeah,
you just. What?
Yeah, I'm saying it's on me, right? Like it's on me. That's my.
Yeah, I don't get it.
That's my fault.
Look, we have second guest on the show, Marco. Can you hear us? Let's go. We don't have video.
We
Marco.
can hear you, but our lovely viewers and listeners can't see you on the stream. There are 2 links on the Gmeet. Could you hit? I think it's video, or is it Restream?
Video.
Riverside. Can you hit video?
There's another one as well.
And then you're live and direct, and you're in the mix.
Well, we'll let you know once it's working.
Should be coming in a sec. Just checking with our producer Ola.
Now
we are about to be good to go. I think
here we go. We're on. Marco Squarci is live on ETN. How's it going, Marco?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It is going super well.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. You can see we've got our Specter merch in a beautiful little spot over here.
I saw it on the other episode.
You'd love to hear it. We've been introing you as I've been introing you as the King of Insights, aka the bootstrapped boss, aka co-founder and CEO of Specter. And what do you do with Specter? You be the reason that your fund wins the deal of the decade, obviously.
Exactly. I can't get that out of my head. It's just
when I go to sleep at night, I see that in my dreams. You know?
You're too amazing.
Right, dude. Let's jump in because we only have 20 minutes. What's new? Let's have an intro from you, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I can start by introing Specter
for sure.
For the ones that don't know us already.
Which aren't many.
Specter is an AI and data intelligence platform for venture capital and private equity investors. We're now like a 5-6 years old company, as you mentioned, fully bootstrapped, proudly bootstrapped.
Let's go.
Perhaps I can give you like a bit of background about how we came to be and like the origin story.
Yeah, let's do it. No, please.
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you who don't know us, my co-founder Dominic and I are builders at heart. We've spent many years at the intersection of data and venture capital, and especially when we're on the investing side of the table, we always felt that every breaking news alert that we got was already stale. Fundraising rounds, press releases, all of those glossy PDFs and reports. Like by the time all of those, information like hit our desk, like the round was priced, the field was crowded. Like we're basically all operating on the same yesterday data. So long story short, we started Specter because we believe the private market deserves a live feed. Not a rear view mirror. And so we basically track all of the leading indicators, all of the subtle movements that hint at tomorrow's breakout before it actually makes the headlines, right? So the ultimate goal here is to make private market data as real time as the public markets.
Okay, so this is like Bloomberg style in a way, right? Like.
Yeah, absolutely. It really all began like in Dom's kitchen, like back in Amsterdam. That's where we founded the company. We were like both like super fascinated by how VCs make decisions, but also like super frustrated by how slow, manual, and oftentimes intuition based the process like still was. So what happened is we ended up building that early prototype, like scraping hiring data, product updates to spot fast-growing startups before these headlines, right? We shared it with a few friends in venture, and within weeks, firms started asking if they could use it internally. And that's really when we realized that we might have something bigger on our hands. That's really the origin story of like how Specter came to be.
I love that. And you like toured the world with this thing, right? You've been building from, many corners of Europe, but also you've been over everywhere, really, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started back in Amsterdam. It's actually quite a funny story. Like both I mean, I'm Italian, as you can all tell by my accent. My co-founder Dom is from Czechia. So while we love the country, like none of us had anything to do with the Netherlands. And so as we started Specter, we noticed, it was an international business from the get-go. We had US and European partners, Asian partners as well. And back in the days, it was just the two of us in Amsterdam together with two interns. Shout out Uri and Artem if they're watching. And Xavi, one of our very first engineers, was a Spaniard, emigrated to the Philippines. So it was the classic, gloomy, rainy winter in the Netherlands. And said, you know what, let's just move somewhere else. And we couldn't really agree on an HQ, on a new place for us in Europe. So we moved to Asia and started traveling like for a few months all across Southeast Asia. This was before remote was cool, before hybrid was even a thing. Unfortunately, COVID hit us, and we had to rush back to Europe with a bit of remote from all around the continent. And now we're in London. That's our new home is in London now.
Awesome.
So nice.
I want to deep dive on move on to your launch like yesterday, right? The real-time revenue signals. Let's hear about the product. Let's hear about what's new.
Yeah, absolutely. So Specter already tracks hundreds of data points about companies, people, and investors. A lot of these can be considered alternative data points. They are proxies for revenue, which is the ultimate holy grail of startup data. And so the past few months, we embarked a bit of a journey. We went down like a little bit of a rabbit hole because revenue is like one of the least transparent data points in private markets. Mm-hmm. So this product really was the brainchild of Dom, my co-founder, and Jan, our new chief of AI. We are basically listening to the entire internet web 24/7. We're plugged into every single news media outlet you can think about. Doesn't matter if it's in India, in Hungary, in US, in Africa. Same goes for podcasts, like the ETM boys, all the way to like the YouTubes and the podcasts about business and finance, the press releases, the social media posts from founders. And the ultimate goal is to democratize revenue. So we're now building this real-time feed of real-time revenue mentions. It can be estimates, it can be confirmed by the founders, it can be ARR, revenue, GMV, run rate. We're just building this massive data feed of signals. And then from there, the ultimate goal is to have revenue data for the entire market worldwide. So cool. It's really acting as the base. And very excited about it.
That's so cool. I had a question when you released it that I've always wanted to ask is like, how you mentioned it is like estimates, right? But how do you know when a founder might be inflating their revenue, and there's stories of that happening? Like do you have to add a kind of caveat to that and say, oh, like this might be an estimate or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're collecting all sorts of different revenue metrics.
Okay, cool.
It really doesn't exist anywhere else. Like the best you can do for certain countries in Europe is plug into the Chamber of Commerce's and like consume data from 2 years ago. So you're always like lagging behind. So right now it's about aggregating as much as possible, give it a confidence score, and from there building that training data set to build very, very reliable estimates in the future.
That's like from a like, the main use case that you're referring to is obviously like VCs use it to, I guess, win the deal of the decade, right? Be the fundraiser deal of the decade. But BDRs, sales teams, like I used to be a BDR, and I'm picturing myself now having access to live real-time news on every single company I could possibly need from every single news source I could possibly need.
It's highly
right?
relevant as well. It's highly relevant as well. Of course, like we come from the world of venture and we're staying true to the world of venture. So we're building quite a verticalized company within venture capital and private equity, but the applications are really limitless. Like think of it from this perspective, like most databases out there are fairly static. They're all following a very noble mission, which is to bring transparency to the private markets. If you wish, like like a very, very simple analogy would be building a Wikipedia for startups. At Specter, we cover that fundamental layer, that informative layer to the private market, but we are very, very focused on building that intelligence, that signaling layer to the private market. And it's really all about those real-time signals. So we usually like surface the first inch of momentum at three different layers: companies, people, and investors. At the company level, it can literally be anything. It can be hiring velocity, product usage footprints. It can be web traffic data, app downloads, social media engagement, stealth partnership breadcrumbs, like pretty much all of the alternative growth signals that tell the story well before a funding announcement or well before the next growth stage of a company. Then you get people. It's really all about the real-time career moves across social media, across Chamber of Commerces and many other alternative sources. So it's really all about spotting that, engineer at Palantir now leaving to build the next category definer the moment it actually happens. Of course, that is a gold signal from a VC standpoint, but also for business development, change in decision makers, newcomers, leavers, and so forth. And the same goes for investor data as well. The vast majority of the market is still used to those lagging indicators. Hey, Sequoia and Andreas Horowitz now back this company. It's a great piece of data, but it doesn't really help me as an investor, or it doesn't really help me as a BDR to really take things to the next level. So what we do at Specter is we track all of those micro interactions between people, and we connect the dots. Like, who are the top angels, top tier 1 VCs, corporate venture teams, like all of these sector specialists, who are they connecting with, who are they interacting, which companies are they targeting well before the actual transaction is public, well before the term sheet is closed. So the same applies obviously to revenue as well. It's one of those additional data points that can help bring transparency to momentum and growth.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that we've used like loads in the past, right? Like for research on companies for the show even. Like we can just type it, or even like plotting out talent signals and talent moves and understanding like who in the market is moving where, like filtered down on like only Europe or only in the UK, or like here are these 15, 20 companies that I like. Can you tell me who's moving like in between these 20 in this sort of like closed system? Like there are so many.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting with the obviously you have these kind of big global VC firms, but now especially like over time you can see more and more kind of like individual GPs starting up their own kind of shop, like singular people who can raise huge funds. I mean, an example is Avantic Capital. Matt, he can just kind of, I think he raised 400 million.
It's like solid GP for Europe.
Yeah, and so you can see people like that using Specter as like, that's their, that's where they find deal flow. That's where they kind of do their analysis. All of that kind of stuff can all just like happen in-house. And it's crazy. Have you seen like an uptake of people over time just doing kind of solo GP stuff, even like in kind of PE and like roll-ups and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely like a very, very big trend in the whole world of venture, like worldwide, really. Yeah. Like, if you think about the past 5 years, that's like, actually like, linked to like the launch of Specter, we've seen like this rise of data-driven VC, data-driven investing. It's quite a theme, it's quite a topic in the industry nowadays. It's quite an aggressive take, but I would dare to say that the days of data-driven VCs are over in favor of AI-driven VCs. If you're still figuring out data in 2025, and the same applies to hiring, recruiting, business development, like it's already way too late. We're at the point where AI can finally separate signal from noise at scale. And that really changes everything about how investors source, rank, and win deals, right? So when you look at early stage funds, it's really all about discovery, like getting in front of founders as early on as possible. And you just see...
We lost him. Can you hear me?
No.
We may have lost our good boy, Marco.
He is...
we lost our brother.
He's gone.
Is he gone?
Are we going to get him back on?
I don't know.
This is interesting.
Well, we've got the room there waiting for him. Should we drop him a note?
Let's drop him a note and see what's up. Quick word from our sponsor. Let's leave outdated business banking behind.
You got to leave it behind.
The all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, high-speed international transfers, corporate cards, expense management, and online payments, all on one platform. Airwallex, insane company. They gave us a McLaren, so go check them out.
We are working in the background to find out what happened to the bootstrapped boss.
I thought after that monologue he would be back. The bootstrap boss is gone. I wanted to do a bit of a deep dive. He was going to do a live demo for us. This is rough.
I'm going to shoot him an email.
Shoot him an email. See what's up. He'll join again. Yeah.
Team's working on it. Do not fear. Marco may be here again.
We can extend the time as well. So
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Send him an email. See where he got. Maybe just lost in the abyss. He was just so lost in the source of amazing insights, right?
Maybe just
carried him away.
Sorry guys, got to go. I'm creating the Wikipedia for private markets.
There was some real news that I had to jump on. Anyway. Marco, thanks for coming on.
We'll see if he comes back on. Have you invited him back on?
I wonder if his laptop died, actually.
Maybe.
Yeah, I just emailed saying, like, we lost you, bro.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Sorry, brother.
No man left behind. But in this case, he's been left behind. Next guest, anyway, Tobias over at Antler.
Yeah. Well, also, just let's go on theme.
Today.
No?
Bit of a VC day.
Yeah, a bit of a VC day. Even Specter is very VC verticalized platform. I want to talk about Gamma. It's a $2.1 billion valuation, 100 million ARR.
Yeah. Have you used them before? They're actually kind of cool.
I've never used them before, but what's interesting is
TechCrunch article.
And we also were just talking about this with Marco. Obviously, it announced a 68 million Series B, led by a16z, and crossed 100 million in revenue with a team of just 50 people. We're obviously talking to Marco about the how lean teams can be now with these platforms. So, say for example, Specter, the data analytics platform. You can go, and there's a ton of solo GPs. Doing their thing and doing very, very well. And it's because of this amazing ability for kind of leverage it, I guess. You can leverage this amazing technology. And so the fact that this company, Gamma, $2 million in revenue per employee, that's pretty mental.
That's nuts.
Ravish Agrawal, he commented and just basically said, but the real magic is the leverage. What 50 people can do when they care deeply, move fast, and trust each other. You can have $2 million of revenue per employee.
A juicy 100 mil ARR. These guys are new.
100 mil ARR. I only saw 50-person company is wild.
I only saw them when less than a year ago, like 6 months ago maybe. But Yeah, dubbed as the AI PowerPoint killer, Gamma hits a 2.1 billion valuation. 100 million ARR, founder says. Gamma, a startup that creates AI-generated presentations, websites, and social media posts, announced on Monday a 68 million Series B round at a 2.1 billion valuation, led by Andreessen Horowitz. Co-founder and CEO Grant Lee posted on X that the company has profitably hit 100 million ARR with 70 million users. The startup hit 50 million profitability in its first 2 years, in a post previously done by Lee, the founder. Gamma last raised a 12 million Series A round, led by Excel in 2024. Mm-hmm. I've used it. It's pretty good. That's what I'd say. It's like
nice. That's a good take.
It's
a great take.
It's pretty good.
It does its job.
It's good if. I was gonna say it's good. It's good if you don't really care like what the other person thinks of like the quality of the work you submit. But that's not
a
fair.
good take.
But it's kind of true. It's not like you look at like the stuff that Sammy did for us, right? Like
our designer.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. This I think is the way I could see myself using Gamma is if I'm working internally.
Like internal decks.
Yeah. And it's like, can we just make a quick presentation about this? I need to I need to present this to people, and I need.
But can it not be like a V1 where it helps you create the presentation, and then you can go into more of a kind of design-centric platform to then design out the content that you've created on. So like the way I would do it, I think in the workflow I would use is Gamma helps me create the the presentation, whatever I'm creating, allows me to pull the insights and allows me to create a very rough, I guess, design and all of this kind of stuff. But design meaning putting content in the place that it should be in, and then going into a design-centric platform like a Figma or a Canva, I guess, or whatever, and making the design look nice.
Yeah, get the bare bones done.
Bare bones done. V1 like solid, because once the content's good, then you can kind of forget about it. You can kind of forget about it, right? Like the content is done now. Now shift focus into design.
Yeah. That's super fair.
Yeah. No qualms, right? And if it is an internal deck, you don't need to go and do the design. Just like making Gamma, bang, done.
Yeah, I feel like if you're at a large company, sometimes the slides have to be looking good. Personal experience. Sometimes, things can't move forward because the slides don't look good.
Yes. Exactly.
I think if any startup is like pre-seed anyway, is using slides to communicate. But I'd probably short that pre-seed startup.
That is very true.
I'd go on to Robinhood and buy some tokenized shorts.
That's true. I'm just going to get a charger.
Okay.
I apologise.
All good. You grab a charger. While Luke's grabbing his charger, let me tell you about our friends over there at ACI.dev. It's the open source middleware to control, govern, and observe AI access to your tools and your data. Next guest coming on at 12:30 is our friend Tobias, general partner over there at Antler. Antler, friend of the stream. We're having a chat with them later in the week, actually, I believe, which is going to be fun. But Tobias is going to come on, talk about what's going on in Antlerland, talk about Stockholm, talk about Project Europe experience, talk about the Gente law in Stockholm, and how do we win? How do we win, whether you're a VC or whether you're a founder?
How do we win?
In other news, we've had a interesting article come out that I saw on X the other day. I'd love to pull this one up. And it's about how heavy drinking in youth may aid career success, study suggests. Research on more than 3,000 people, pretty large sample size, found those who binge drink in their late teens and 20s later achieved higher education and income levels.
Why is this a psychological thing?
I don't know what this is. This is just something that came out the other day. And
this is from our friends over at City AM as well.
Is it?
Yeah, we like City AM.
Did they put this out?
She is an opinion and features editor. So thanks to a list envy. She's opinion and features editor at City AM. 1.4 million views.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah. It's I don't know what, like, it's weird, right? It's very like antithesis. I do feel like
antithesis right now.
Like my mate who works in investment banking, less so now, but in the earlier years of his career, he kind of like had to drink. Because it's such a social.
Where you go out with clients. You know, it gets deal.
But it's like every night though. It's like constantly. You know, you're going out with clients. I mean, it's all going out with clients really. But it's like, you know, maybe going to Paris one night.
Or you're going out with like, you know, like the lawyers that you're working with on a deal.
Yeah. Getting drunk with the lawyers.
Yeah. It happens, right? Someone had a good take on this. It was like, I think it was Professor Mr. Scott Galloway. He was saying, I'm pretty sure he said in maybe one of his podcasts or whatever, some of the content that he created, basically like, when you're young, you can kind of like really, you're so young that like your liver is actually like pretty strong.
Like you just beat it up, your liver.
But you kind of just beat it up, like you're fine. Like you're fine, basically. You can kind of really go to town, and you know, say you're mid-20s. By the time you're kind of 30s, 35s, like obviously like maybe chill out a little bit, but like it's pretty regenerative. It can regenerate.
It can take a few hits.
It can take a few hits.
Take a few hits.
And so like, and the social side of drinking, you know, he talks about a lot about kind of, especially male loneliness, but loneliness in general.
So I'm so hot in this.
The kind of function of alcohol is a social function, and so that social function far outweighs the potential health, you know, detriments that are going to happen.
Okay, yeah, fair. But what if
also
you
the
like,
fact that you can,
you're just drinking alone.
Well, no, obviously that's bad. That's called an alcohol problem.
You're not having fun then, right?
No. But what I'm saying is like less people are going to the pub and less people are doing this and less people whatever. And it's like no. Why do that?
Yeah.
Go and enjoy yourself. You know, because you're not going. If you're not going to the pub because of health reasons, it's like that is a stupid argument. Basically, is what he's saying.
I think there's nuance within that though.
But like flat, that's what he's saying. Stupid argument.
Like health problems like that includes like a lot of stuff. So I wouldn't say like.
What do you mean?
Well, like
if you're a healthy 22-year-old, you're.
They should go and have some fun. You know, crack on. I agree with that.
Even if you're a healthy 25, 26-year-old, and you're not going to the pub because of health reasons, like he's saying, the health implications of you drinking at such a young age, far diminished by the social action of going out drinking
and having fun and bonding and having a good time. Yeah. Fair enough.
And you can kick back, you know, you're young, so it's fine.
No, I agree.
So I back this, but I think this is more of a psychological thing. Heavy drinking in youth may aid career success. Like research found that those who binge drink in their late teens, and 20s, later achieved higher education and income levels.
Maybe it's like kind of got it out of their system, you know?
Maybe, and then they lock in.
Yeah, because like I met a few people at uni that may have like sort of got exposed to that a bit later. I mean, I guess you're still in your teens at uni, to be fair, but like late teens anyway. But like, it was clear that like not more like some people were locking in earlier in the sense like post having fun. They had the fun, then they locked in.
Yeah.
Because like if the fun is delayed, you know, because it's like you don't want to be having too much fun too late, right? You kind of want to be locking in from an earlier age if you can. If you can, obviously.
It's one of those weird balances of human
life. Who
knows
though? You know, it's a tough thing to get right. When does one lock in?
When do you lock in?
Aristotle that talks about that, right? When is the great?
Is that one of his quotes? When do you lock in?
How doth one
So 12:20, we have Tobias Bengtsdahl. He is a GP at Antler. We're going to be talking about what's new in Antler land. Investing in the Nordics right now must be pretty fun, presumably. So it's going to be interesting to talk to him. But first of all, Fora, workspaces to make your everyday extraordinary, premium, flexible off workplaces that drive performance, productivity, and well-being. Be surrounded by greatness and rub shoulders with some of the world's most exciting companies. Go to foraspace.co.
Love that for Fora.
That is the one. So good stuff. I believe, I don't know if we have him on yet. Is he coming on?
I think we'll know when he's in the waiting room.
So sad about
Marco. I know, we lost
We could get him on for the last 10 minutes of the show, maybe.
We lost our guy.
Between 1:50 and 2.
Our boy Marco. Let's go.
Video, no.
We need,
Tobias, we need you on video.
You need to join one more link in the G-Meet, Tobias. Our lovely viewers at home can't see you yet. I think they can hear you though. Yes, yeah, hit that.
Go to the video. We'll let you know when our producer gives us the green light. It's coming.
For those wondering at home,
wait,
Tobias is...
3, 2...
We're counting you in.
1.
Wait, no. Now we can start counting. 3,
hold on. 3, 2, 1.
2, 1. We are live on the European Technology Network, and we are joined by Tobias.
Clap him in.
Dude, what is going on? Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. It's really great to be here.
No,
linen blazer. What
pleasure. Yeah, Luke was telling me that you were going to wear a linen blazer. Apparently, you guys had been chatting last night.
Dude, the same day I'd put it up on the attic because I was like, goddamn, European summer is over. I've been on a break since May until October, classic European summer. But now I've just started working again. So
he's locking in. We were literally just talking about when do you lock in? The famous question of when in life do you lock in? Do you have fun until 25? Do you like
that you lock in, or is it a month?
This is a deep question to ask.
Yeah, I think that there's many downsides of being based up in the Nordics, where life kind of sucks for 6 months or 5 to 6 months every year. But you do really fucking lock in October, November, December, January, February. Like when the sun goes down at 2 p.m. You just grind. You just lock in, literally. Lock yourself.
See, that's interesting because, I think in the great lock-in period in the UK, I think is maybe like September to maybe. It's online.
The UK people just hate talking to people, to be honest. So as soon as September hits, it's like that's it. Yeah, I'm locking in. I'm not talking to any human being ever. But look, Tobias, dude, what's going on in Antler land? Give us an intro, and then we can go from there.
So what's going on in Antler land? For those who don't know Antler before, let's do a quick brief intro. Antler is like a fund house globally, founded back in, I think, 2018 was probably the official launch, could have been earlier. Now at $1.4, I think, billion under management. Been growing very, very quickly to be an early stage mandate. We're now across 30 different locations. And then a growth fund on top of that. So in each location, we run our very early stage pre-seed investing. And I'm obviously a partner here in Stockholm for our Nordic fund with offices Stockholm, Oslo, Helsinki, and Copenhagen. And what's happening is just like, it's a great freaking time to be in early stage. I mean, you see now all across Europe how being in seed, where before in Europe, you've had very, very cautious seed investing. You've waited quite far. You've wanted to see a lot of proof, a lot of ARR and everything. And now everyone who's waiting as a Nordic or European seed investor, you just see the multi-stage investing funds coming in and snipe up all the good deals, which makes it really, really good and really, really fun to be in the very early stages. So that's what's up. What's happening is just like we're seeing so much talent starting companies right now here in Stockholm. I mean, not surprisingly, I guess, we have Lovable as the shining light, and then we have Legora, Tandem Health, Sana Labs, all of this. And for me, who's been in the Stockholm tech ecosystem for more than 10 years, there's never been this optimism, and it's never been so obvious for someone who's like 25 years old and super talented that starting a company just makes total sense. And going all in, locking in at a very young age is a very, very reasonable move to do.
Yeah, that's wicked to hear. I recently watched an interview with Luca Ferrari at Bending Spoons, and he was saying how Bending Spoons is almost like a bit of a beacon for founders in Europe. That's why they stayed in Milan and Italy, and obviously they have operations globally. But it's a proof to show that you can build incredible businesses in these places, and that's what kind of spurs on entrepreneurship. Do you think like that is, you know, what was like Anton and the guys over at Lovable? What's their like? That's their main impact for like Stockholm. Do you think that was like a catalyst for it?
For sure. I think so. If we're back to do some history, the first part is that this is not like the first wave in Stockholm. It is the third wave. We have the Skype era first. I think the first European unicorn, obviously not only Swedish, also quite Estonian and a little bit Danish, but very much claimed by us Swedes. And a lot of talent that came from there. Then we had the second generation, which was really Spotify and Klarna, late 00s. And now when you have the third generation, obviously Lovable and the aforementioned, these guys have been growing up with Stockholm having a tech ecosystem. So for them, it's not weird that you can build a global company like Skype or Spotify from Stockholm, of course, expanding with talent and everything elsewhere, but really being based here and having your actual headquarters here. So I think that's the history, and then leading up to now, I think Anton has had a tremendous effect on both operators and founders and also investors here. I think everyone has stepped up, and I mean I think he's saying it less often now, but for some time, every time I opened like social media, it was Anton saying we're building $1 trillion company out of Stockholm or out of Europe. And I think, let's see, right, if it turns into that or not, but just saying that should be possible, that's where we should aim, actually lifted an entire continent 1,000x. Before that, building a unicorn was so cool, and whenever it became a unicorn, we sold it to some American company, and then we were like patting each other on the back. Oh my God, congrats guys, you became a unicorn. Then Anton comes around and he's the unicorn after, less than a year or whatever. And then he says, I'm building $1 trillion valued company. That is the new target. And everyone just steps up to that.
I completely agree. You said something just then that was really interesting about like the power of even just vocalizing it, right? Even just saying it. And I was chatting with Luke and I were at a dinner with a couple of friends recently, and I was discussing this exact thing that you mentioned here, like the power of just sort of being more vocal about successes, or like the plans to succeed or the plans to be great. And it was actually a friend of mine that shared with me like a piece of information regarding like prior to the Industrial Revolution in the UK, if you go onto Google like word search, you can see that the print number of the number of times that the words like hope and optimism and futuristic and future were printed in the years running up to the Industrial Revolution. It was like 3 years prior to the Industrial Revolution like even starting, but you see an increase in an influx in the words being spoken that have these like connotations to a future of growth and prosperity, which I thought was ridiculous. I thought that was mental. I thought that was so interesting. So I hear you when you say like there is power in just being like optimistic about this, right? There was another, I can't remember the other quote, but it was like the pessimist is usually right and the optimist is usually rich or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is funny.
And you guys, just as you spend all your waking time thinking about the future, thinking about tech, thinking about startups, right? So we're always at the forefront. For us, the AI revolution has already happened. But if you look at it from a societal perspective, Anton starting to say that Lovable is going to be $1 trillion company and spewing out that optimism is way earlier than when the AI revolution actually hits the broader market and when we actually get to see the societal benefits. So I think you will probably see the same if you fast forward a few decades into the future, that like those who already in 2023, 24 started talking about how this is going to change everything, AGI, all the different terms you use for it, they were actually ahead of the curve when it then hit the hopefully super prosperous future we'll have.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about Project Europe. You're semi-involved in Project Europe in some respect, is that right?
I'm a friend of the guys, and happy to help out whenever I can. I mean, I truly believe in the mission, backing young founders as early as possible, and especially here in Europe. Speaking about it, I think that's another way of really pushing optimism into this continent.
Yeah, I agree. I want to touch on a LinkedIn post you wrote the other day about the 3 ways to win. 1, build global from day 1. 2, go to the US. 3, make Europe / the region your moat. Can we deep dive on that? And I've got a few questions about it, but I want to kind of hear your take overall first.
Yeah, for sure. So, this was after me being in SF a month back, and really like the difference you get in SF is if you win locally there, you win globally in tech. Like there's very rarely someone who can win local in SF and not become the global dominant player. And you can look at that in the AI wave now. Like it's OpenAI that's winning. It's unfortunately not Mistral. It's before that it was Google who won the search market, not anybody else, etc. Right? So what wins locally there usually wins globally. Here it's not at all like that, right? If I win the Stockholm market or the Swedish market, it has almost like probably negative correlation with winning globally, if that's what I'm over obsessed with. So when I came back from there, I really wanted to push that out to every European founder that like you can only win globally if you think about it from day one, and there's 3 different ways. And the first one, as you said, like it's like Lovable did, right? There's never been borders to Lovable. Of course, there's some areas in the world where it can't be used, I'm sure, due to firewalls, but in general, it's global from day one. Nobody needed to know it was Swedish. It could have been from SF, it could have been from anywhere. And that works for some very PLG-led products. The second one is like you go to the US very quickly. Like if you realize you're from Stockholm or Paris or Berlin or London, and you realize you see early traction on something that can be a global category leader, then you go to the US next. You don't start dabbling around in Europe, etc. You don't go anywhere else. You go in the US market because winning the US is always what correlates mostly with winning globally. And then thirdly, like you can, in certain areas, really build a really big company by regionalizing and using that as a moat. But then there has to be a reason. So I think in food delivery, you've seen this. You had Deliveroo take a really good position in the UK. You had Volt take a strong position in other countries. And you have Delivery Hero generally being strong in Europe and other regions as well. And where it really makes sense because you have the physical part, similar with Tandem Health from Sweden in the medical scribe business, where the legislation regulatory side is such that it makes sense that someone wins locally. But however, the main death trap is that so many companies try to use this as a reason for winning. So they make up that they have this moat. Oh, we have a moat in Europe. Oh, Europe is special. And then at the end of the day, they realize they didn't. And just the best product actually wins, no matter if it's from Europe or from the US or from Singapore or from wherever. So yeah, that was, I guess, the gist of the story.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think we who was it? Was it Martin Mignot that we had on the old show ages ago, and talks about this like this need to build a global from day one, and this need to it just has to be something that you're always thinking about. He gave like Revolut as a really good example as to how they were constantly thinking about that. And one of the disadvantages in 2 ways, like a disadvantage or an advantage, is like for these companies that are kind of like landlocked, especially in Europe, that don't really get to, like, if they want to launch to a new country, they've essentially got to build a new business. It does kind of in a way train them to get like used to launching new markets in a way, because it's the same product in a different country, but there are so many different rules and regulations and the way that consumers think or the way that businesses think that like they're essentially launching a new company every single time, right? And they have to put new people on the ground, you hire people. So like, yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to hear the comparisons between the two. Is that like, I don't know, is that something that when you guys chat to these early players, like should they be, is it as early as that, should they be thinking about it, or even at pre-seed?
Because I have this audio video frame error from Riverside. Is it fine?
Oh, you have an error? I don't think so. Ola, are we good on the stream? Yeah, we're good.
It prompts me to restart it, but let's try it then. No, I think that's a great point. I mean, in the earliest stages, what I'm looking for is so of course there's a bunch of characteristics on the founder. on the product, because of how early we invest, it just has to be directionally interesting and in an interesting space and heading somewhere in that sense. And then that the mindset is of being a global winner, right? And being a global winner, of course, there are different like paths to get there. I think Spotify, as an example, famously did some sort of like first Sweden, then trying the UK because they saw the UK as US but smaller, and then US. And there are these different like archetypes. But if I sit down with them and they say, yeah, we really want to become a Nordic leader, and they're not building something like a bank where the market is huge, that's just not going to cut it. Like if you're not playing to win a space globally, then no, that's not going to work.
Is that the consensus amongst like most VCs, I guess now, right? If they're looking for that fund returner, it's like you can't, if I approach a VC and I'm like, hey, I want to build like the best thing in the UK, they kind of like...
I think it's at least it's a great question. At least here in Nordics, I think it's definitely a generational shift. As I've spoken about, I think on the seed side investing, it's been very much more low risk, rather get 3 to 5x on every company than a lot of them going to 0 and some going 100x. And it's been way more more mature stage investing than what it should be, according to me. But now we're really seeing a generational shift where we're starting to act more like, I guess, US VCs in pre-seed and seed, where you are way more risk on. But being more risk on also means you have to be seeing the rewards in those who actually work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think it's a problem that companies are looking to build global earlier, especially companies from the or started from the EU and kind of expanding globally from there. Like that's the golden ticket, right? Especially in VC, like that's how you get to 100x. It's very, very rare to get to a 100x company or larger if you're only tackling one small market like a Stockholm or one country or whatever. So I think that's interesting. Are you seeing, where do you see the opportunity in European kind of markets from US investors kind of looking in? We had a partner at SpeedInvest on, Andreas, and he was saying there's actually less capital coming from the US now and more capital directly from EU into EU companies. Are you seeing that as well?
Well, that's an interesting take. In Stockholm, just because of how hyped the ecosystem has become, as we've discussed, a lot of it driven by Lovable, but also other companies. And I've been in Stockholm tech for more than 10 years, working at unicorns here locally and founding my own company. There's way more international VCs with boots on the ground or coming here frequently, hosting events. There's dinners hosted by Andreas and partners. There's people from Sequoia coming over. There's deals being done. So I definitely feel like they're more present here. On the data side, whether more or less capital is actually deployed, I would definitely guess more. If you look at Lovable in Stockholm, they raised $200 million from non-European lead. You have Legora that has mostly raised from US VCs, etc. Right? So. From my point of view, more US capital is coming here, and that US capital is really forcing us, the European VCs, to step up our game.
Yeah, which I guess is a good thing. There was one last thing, your contrarian take the other day on LinkedIn. Can we talk about that?
The Janty law.
The Janty law?
Yes, please. I'd love to. I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it.
Oh, right. So that, as you can probably see in the comment there where somebody is educating me, Frederick, I love him, on how it actually works or what it actually means to begin with. The Janty law in general is more or how I perceive it in day-to-day is more just this perception of how a Scandinavian is generally very different from, say, someone from the US. That we rarely boast about ourselves, that we're scared to seem like we're better than others, that you see very little difference between how wealthy someone is because it's not really okay or accepted to have expensive styles and expensive clothing, all of these things basically, and all of the things that you would probably refer to as us being a quote unquote socialist society. And the point that I was trying to drive home is that yes, in one way that's very bad for motivation and for becoming a founder and for really locking in and going for big outcomes, because you don't, in some way it kind of takes away the benefits because everything is supposed to be so flat and you can't talk about how much money you earn and everything. But on the flip side, it makes someone, and that's how I perceive myself, you always question everybody who has more than you or has done more than you. You always like, is that person better than me? No, they're not. I'm also like, we're all, in that way, we're all equal. We can all achieve something. So it has like, if you want to see it like that, it has a very positive twist. And I always post things which I agree to like 60% or something in my own head, because then I know other people will have another opinion and start discussing it in their own heads. And this was definitely one of those things where I'm like, I'm now 51 to 55% that this is how I feel about this Jante thing. Let's post it and see what the internet thinks.
Yeah, interesting.
If I can pull the thread, I mean, this is something I've spoken about before. It's everyone, of course, like if you ask an American about the Nordic tax systems and health benefits and everything, we are a socialist country in their point of view. But the upside is like, thanks to how we finance student debt, like that you get student debt from the government at very, 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 very low rates, that it's free universities, everything, you can be so risk on, and everyone can be risk on, not only the wealthiest 10, 15%. Like you can get money enough to survive and live and go through uni through the government at a very, very good setup that doesn't ruin your life afterwards. And that makes it able for you to start your first company when you're 19, 20, 21 on the side of uni or straight after. So I think the point I'm trying to drive home is like, don't underestimate the outcomes we can have from a more, call it, equal or socialist or high tax ecosystem by the differences it makes in our mindset and our social security nets, basically.
Yeah, cool. That's a really interesting way of posting.
It's like a mental sparring test.
Where you're like, oh, I'm like 60% there. Let me get it out in the world and see what other people think. Even if my reputation is I guess on the line a little bit. I don't know.
There's two things into that, right? One is people who just post like things that everybody 100% agrees with is kind of like fucking boring. And the second part is nobody remembers what you posted a month ago. Like,
so true.
Ask someone in a month, like, oh, did Tobias post about the Jante law? They're like, who is Tobias? So that's why. And I think just like, I just want to put these like small nuggets into people's heads and then see if they stick around the day. And then people come up to me and some are like, oh, I love that post. It's so much resonated, or it's so much made me think. And that's more important to me than just posting about how amazing Stockholm is and how great Lovable is. And everybody already knows this. Like, let's try to dig one step deeper. But maybe it's just because I'm a failed philosopher at the end of the day who acts as a leader.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's a good way to do it.
I've got to respect the self-awareness.
Can I ask one more question? I know we're like a minute over, but is that right? Yeah. I want to ask, because we were obviously talking on DM yesterday, and you said like one thing that people always love to dig into is going from like a founder position into a VC position. We tend to ask VCs, because it's interesting to hear their takes. What are you like? How do you succeed in VC? What's your kind of like opinion on how can you succeed in this weird bubble that we all like operate in?
Yeah, exactly. So for me, and this is different in every ecosystem, right? How much competition is, but for me, it's definitely been my operator and founder background. I mean, I've been a very early employee into unicorns here in the Nordics, and then I founded my own company, Memode, where we were probably the fastest growing consumer company in Europe at the time, going from $0 to $100 million valuation in less than 2 years, then from $100 million to zero in less than 2 years. So I think I have real battle scars. I can both talk about absolute momentum and just when, hiring and just getting shit done and having fires burning all around you is how to act and how to get through that. And also when shit hits the fan and everything just turns and how to go through that. So I think people really respect that and really understand that can be valuable to their journeys as well. And not being only this hype kid who's just like, oh my God, it's always going to be great. It's always, I'll back you. You're going to be the best. But I'll also be there and talk to you when things aren't the best and help you strategize and help you figure out ways. And I'll always have your interest because I know how it felt like for me going through that when you're like, you're not even 30 yet and you go from thinking you have $10 million of paper money to zero within a few weeks. And you're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And that is what I think gives me a somewhat of an edge. Of course, the story could have been very different. If I would have sold at $100 million, I would probably been the most arrogant guy and thought I was the gift of God to humanity. But now I'm a little bit more humble, and that probably helps as well.
Such an awesome answer.
That was a great answer. Well, look, good stuff. Thank you so much, Tobias.
Dude, thank you for joining us. It was super fun.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Good stuff.
Hope everything worked.
Bye.
Cheers, Tobias.
Cheers, Tobias.
Ciao. What a legend.
So good. So good. Quick word from our sponsor. Airwallex leave outdated business banking behind. The all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, high-speed international transfers, corporate cards, expense management, and online payments, all in one platform.
All in one.
All in one. Airwallex, they are killers. Let's do this. Next on the show, we have Fred Oliveira.
Yes, we do.
He recently ran his LisbonAI event, which is interesting. We'll deep dive on Lisbon. Have we had anyone over that way before?
We have not.
Calling in from Lisbon, I assume, which is interesting. Okay. He's also the VP of Engineering at Capital Factory. They're doing some good stuff over there, so we'll be interested to see what is going on in the Lisbon space at the moment.
Talk of the town.
But on to the news.
Yeah, why don't we talk about they raising 60 M's from Grab with another 350 M's coming to the bank if they need it. We can pull this one up. Remote driving startup, they set to raise, interesting title, set to raise 410 million from Singapore's Grab.
I don't know if that's
an interesting way to frame the
I don't know if that's totally
article.
True. I guess it is because it's pledged.
Pledged based off hitting certain markers.
That's basically like saying like Elon Musk is a trillionaire now, because fine. I think they have to hit. I think Tesla has to hit an $8 trillion market cap for him to have his $1 trillion.
Well, I guess they say set to raise. I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, they has raised $60 million from Grab. Grab's an awesome company. They're kind of like everywhere, to be honest. It's a super app for technology, offering ride-hailing, food delivery, and payment services. And then it's also agreed to invest another $350 million if certain milestones are hit over the next year.
Yeah, so it's like, if you do this, this, and this, we'll give you 350 million.
Yeah.
There's still very much chance of not.
Well, yeah, 100%. So they technically haven't raised 410 million, like the Sifted headline says. But Vey's an interesting company. This initial investment will help accelerate Vey's remote driving technology development and create valuable technical and operational synergies for Grab's long-term mobility strategy. Vey is interesting. Reason why is because they aren't they're not an autonomous vehicle like a Wave or a Waymo. They essentially, it's teleoperated until you don't need it to be teleoperated. So the way it works is you ride hail or you hail a Vey ride. Someone teleoperates it to you, and then you get behind the wheel and drive the car.
Interesting. I feel like they would be at risk from Wave. Are they planning to go full autonomous?
I don't think so. It's a tele-driving startup. It uses remote operators to navigate rental cars to customers. So they're not like, it's not like ride-hailing app where, it's not like an Uber. You use it as like a
rent-a-car, Zipcar here in the UK. Right?
Rent a car like a
Zipcar.
Exactly that.
Drives to you instead of being dropped off by someone who works at Zipcar.
Yeah, so essentially the Uber driver equivalent is the guy / girl behind the, in the Vey offices, teleoperating this car, doing GTA 5, driving around the streets to get to you. And then when it gets to you, then you kick them out.
What if they smash something up and actually go? I guess you could see who's probably logged in. Teleoperation.
Yeah.
Imagine that you're in the office and you're like, oh my lord,
I've just hit 1,000 people accidentally.
Just crashed the car. Just crash the car from the office. That's interesting.
How does insurance do that? Like,
I feel like that's an interesting spot. Maybe it's like a position to they're moving like a step, like phase one of like we're gonna have fully autonomous vehicles here, maybe. Because surely that sounds like that would be at risk. Like,
is this Grab's,
pretty soon?
Is this Grab's like play to create a fully autonomous vehicle? I guess, but like they're not working on fully autonomous like tech.
I guess I can see it in the sense that like I'm just trying to think now, like why would I do that instead of getting a waiver or whatever. But I guess like maybe a long drive.
So if I walk out my house and I've got a VA car sitting there right there that I can get in, that's super useful. I need a car.
But you'd have to have ordered that.
Super useful. If I'm moving house or if I'm like, if I want to go somewhere and I want to drive like down south or whatever.
Maybe it's a longer journey.
To the coast or something, I would have to get the train with all my bags or get the tube or get an Uber or whatever to the place where I pick up a car. And then...
I just feel like the thing that they're automating isn't enough for them.
It's not a good enough value add for a human being to do, to pay for a lot.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it's basically like, I'm like, you're just getting a car. Like you, as in like, oh, I really want a car like outside my house so I can just drive somewhere. Like, I can do that.
No, that's great for you. And like you could probably do that with Zipcar anyway. Someone who works with Zipcar will just drive to you, right? And I'd understand it more if this is like
but that's just good for margins for them.
But they're still hiring people because they're driving them teleoperated.
Oh yeah, true.
So like there's no change to the OPEX on their employee count.
I mean, look, have you ever used Grab? I'm pretty bullish on Grab as a company.
I'm not sure if I have.
Super app. They are pretty wicked. If you ever go to like anywhere in Southeast Asia, use Grab.
That's where?
Their UX is very cool. I really like them. So I'm pretty bullish on they purely just because they've managed to secure this deal with Grab. But I agree. I mean, like. It's the same argument as the humanoid versus the teleoperated robot.
No, but I think that they put out like this is obviously just for training purposes. Now we will be launching that this is going to be there will be no one operating this in the future. Like, I'm assuming that probably this additional 350 million based off these like targets that get hit is probably tied to some level of like
technological.
We don't need a human in the loop anymore. We've done all the teleo that we need. It must be, right? Because I can't imagine. Because otherwise they haven't.
Because then they've done nothing.
You've shooting them over. You've done nothing.
They've literally done nothing. They've raised $60 million to do nothing.
But good on them. Good on them. The headline is quite funny from Sifted, their remote driving startup. They set to raise 410 million. One could argue that is misleading, but such is the way.
That is jokes. So we're meant to be having Fred Oliveira coming on the show very, very soon. But a quick word from our sponsor, Fora, workspaces to make your everyday extraordinary, premium, flexible office. I keep saying office spaces, workplaces that drive performance, productivity, and well-being. They have lots of suites in there. It's pretty good. Be surrounded by greatness. Rub shoulders with some of the world's most exciting companies. Go to foraspace.co to go and get your office space. It's wicked.
Get some office space from Fora. Don't forget about the drinks as well.
Let's do
delicious coffees.
Let's chat just quickly before Fred comes on about his Twitter.
Other followers.
@F.
Yeah, maybe we can just see when did he make the account?
How long has he been on? How long has he been on Twitter or X?
Let's have a look. 2006.
Okay, so he was just early in the game.
Yeah. He's done a little reshare for us. He's excited to come on. He says. Oh, he also put out the. We saw this the summonings invitation.
He did, yeah.
Which is.
Congrats to Fred. He just said, I'm about to go live with the lads from ETN show. Excited for this. But I don't know where he is.
We are Our team is on the ground in Lisbon, physically looking for him right now. Our producers are teleoperating Grab vehicles.
No, not Grab.
To find Fred. They vehicles to find Fred.
We have a fleet of they vehicles
being teleoperated by an
going around Lisbon.
Large fleet of humans.
I think that'd be so fun to drive a car, like, not in the car. I think it's just so dangerous.
Risky biz, that. Super risky biz, you know? Because you'd be too. Imagine if I gave you a steering wheel now. I was like, drive through, you know, this busy.
Drive through London, central London. Drive through
You'd be so relaxed. Like if someone was to beep at you, I guess maybe you've got headphones in and you can hear a beep, but like you wouldn't really.
Well, yeah, but like I'm not there. It doesn't matter. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
it's like
but
super
that's
weird.
why it's dangerous. I assume there's like proper training in place for these, you know.
Well, no, that'll be the same as like the expert engineer at because they call them experts in 1X Neo robot. Like
what experts of?
That's what they call them. They're literally called experts.
To be fair, I can see that maybe there is like.
So they do some super deep training on them.
Yeah. But I'm assuming like you probably have to have some higher qualification
of driving.
Yeah, like you can't just like have a driver's license. Surely you'll probably have to like have passed a few internal tests to be able to get.
Well, yeah, internal tests for sure. But what about like road safety tests? I don't know.
I mean, that's part of your driving test, no?
Well, yeah, but would you have to have? What you're saying is, do you have to have
maybe
more
like
than a driving test?
Maybe like a re-up of sorts. Like you'd have to learn some new elements of how to operate that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one to talk about. Well, let's get some news up while we wait for our boy Fred. If you can drop him a note.
Yeah, Fred he's taking a sweet time.
I want to get up. This is quite funny. It's this tweet that's kind of going viral at the moment. I think because Musk shared it, it's going more viral. But this is the original post at Oren Hoffman, and it's basically, I don't know if this is his drawing. I think it seems to be signed there in the bottom right. It looks like it's kind of like his signature. It's like Corin or like Oren. Oh, it's at Oren. Yeah, that's his at. So original piece, but like it's kind of like a number of assholes per capita based off the industry that they work in, and it's like a reverse pyramid. Politics at the top, media, academia, finance, business, tech, and he's saying tech has the fewest assholes per capita. Politics has the most.
I can get behind that.
And I mean, it's got 41 million views.
I don't know how. Yeah,
it's got 4.8 thousand retweets. It's got 16,000 favorites. Like that's an officially a banger. This was dropped 3 days ago, but I think Musk quote tweeted it,
right,
saying agree.
Yeah.
So there's like an element there where it's getting a bit of a boost. But I think, look, we sit at the intersection of tech and media. So does that mean it's a higher percentage chance?
Does that mean we're not assholes? Great? We're assholes.
I think it might.
I don't know.
The line's longer there. If you add up them both.
But look, we're technically in tech. Think about how many tech people we talk. We don't talk to any media people. Media. What is media? And what is tech? Like
we are the media.
Obviously, this is media, right? We are media. But I feel like media means something different. Like this is a very niche part of tech instead of this is a
tech
very
media.
Niche part of
Maybe we can message him and be like,
we're tech media.
Hey man, what about tech media? See if you can maybe add a little circle on there for us to sit in. Think you do that?
Yeah, just tweet at Musk and just see what he says.
No, this is for Oren.
Yeah,
not mine.
I think he must be having technical difficulties because he did tweet 10 minutes ago about to go live with the lads from ETN show. Excited for this.
Have you got his WhatsApp on it?
No. I have him on email, but he hasn't replied. Oh no, I'm on the link, you guys. If it helps, I see that I'm waiting for the host to let me in.
Huh.
This is weird.
Can you recheck the link?
Yeah.
I just share the new ones. Oh no, he's been, according to him, sat in the waiting room as we've been talking about assholes per capita per industry. But do not fear, at F is here.
He's coming on soon.
He's coming on very soon.
He is
He's sat
around.
in the waiting room.
We've had Marco losing the stream quickly.
I know. What happened to Marco? We never found out, did we?
And now we're literally going to we've got 11 minutes until we're going to we'll eat into the other 10 minutes. So that's fine.
Yeah. We've got a spare 10.
Spare 10.
Spare 10 there. Chatting news and whatnot.
Yeah. Chatting news. Well, anyway, quick word, ACI.dev, the open source middleware to control, govern and observe AI access to your tools and data. Go to ACI.dev. They are killing it over there. Thank you very much for joining growth stage number 2 of ETN, which is great.
With our brand new sponsor, Airwallex. Let me just talk to you about Airwallex. I want you to leave outdated business banking behind. It's the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, hence the F1 card that we got sent by them. Multi-currency accounts, high-speed international transfers, corporate card expense management, and online payments, all in one platform. You get all that in one platform. Mm-hmm. You just love to see it.
You do. You really do.
How's our boy at F getting on?
At F, I've sent him the 2 links. I mean, he's not having a good time. It's so sad. I was so keen to talk to him.
We had such a good chat about
Kevin. Do you know Kevin Costa deploying Belief Capital? He's I think he's GP at Belief Capital. Pretty wicked VC firm based in New York. He replied to our. Here we go.
Oh, we are in. I think we are live.
No, we're not live. He needs video.
We've got to do the video link as well.
Fred, if you press the video link as well, our producer will see your video and can let you in on the stream.
Sorry, good sir. We were.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, we don't know what was going down, but we are nearly there, which is happy days.
If you just let us know once you press that video, because you've got to join both links at the same time. Oh, here we go. I think we've got you. Yeah. We will let you know when the producer gives us the thumbs up.
About to give us the thumb up. And
Fred
we are live on the European Technology Network.
Alrighty.
Fred, welcome to the stream. Apologies for the technical difficulties.
No worries whatsoever.
Glad
to be on.
No, we're the honor is ours. We're very happy to have you. There's been a lot of talk about your appearance on the show. I'm going to go straight in with your handle. It's at F.
Yeah.
That's some prime real estate you're sitting on right there. How did you get this?
Just early to the game, really. If I'm honest, I happen to know the original team at Twitter, and they mentioned it. I registered. It's really as simple as.
No way.
I was just there very, very early.
That's that.
And I kinda hung on to it, which is both a blessing and a curse, because there's many stories related to that Twitter handle.
That's so cool. And
do you know how much do they get valued?
Yeah, because there's a new marketplace for buying the handles, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, if we want to go that way, yes. I'm very thankful. I'll say it here publicly as well. I'm very thankful to Elon Musk for basically anchoring the value of my Twitter handle. But yeah, so I did get many offers over the years, obviously, and I never really considered selling it. I'm sure there's value to it. It just so happens that it's attached to my identity, and so I don't see it as I don't know. I just don't see it in that way, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
No, that's people have tried to get it.
Well, it's in the right hands. But look, do you want to give us an intro about you, about LisbonAI, about Capital Factory, and then we can go from there?
I can, yeah. We'll crunch it down in 7 minutes. So yeah, I've been in this game for a little bit of time. Back in 2005, I became the first employee at TechCrunch, and so that obviously opened a lot of doors. It meant that I lived in the Bay Area for a little bit, got exposed to a number of deals and interesting conversations, the early stage of many names that are now household names, I guess. After a little bit of time, I decided that I wanted to do something in Europe. So I came back home. Home is Portugal. And I did a consultancy here, built product for companies large and small. That was super exciting for me because I A, I had a bunch of ideas, and B, I had seen by then just so much, right, in terms of product, in terms of what worked and what didn't. And so dedicated a bunch of years of that, of my life to that, until I got tired and decided to start working in VC, which is what I've done for the most part for the past, this is going to date me, but about 12 years at this point. So at some point back in May, just to cut it very, very short, to LisbonAI, which I think is more important. Back in May, a few friends decided to get together and wanted to put Lisbon, not just Lisbon, really, Portugal, Europe, in the map for AI, and we decided to organize LisbonAI, which took place last week. It was a massive success from my perspective, but I'm very biased. But it was a success, certainly. We got a bunch of people in the room. It was great. I think more LisbonAI should take place. Maybe not with that name, maybe not in that place, but yeah, they should exist.
Awesome. And what's going on in the ground in Lisbon? Like, I don't know if we've ever had anyone from Lisbon on the show.
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Maybe one. But what's going on in kind of the venture ecosystem at the moment? A lot of people building over in Lisbon. Obviously, there's some incredible people over in Lisbon, as you just mentioned.
Yeah. So Lisbon itself. I think what I'm about to say about Lisbon just kind of applies to the rest of Portugal and to an extent to some pieces of Southern Europe, even Europe, right, in general. But Lisbon obviously has seen massive growth because just a bunch of companies opened offices down there. I'm not in Lisbon right now, by the way. I live about an hour out. But just a ton of attention, a ton of people. Web Summit is taking place right now in Lisbon, and so that alone should say enough about how crucial it is for Europe in general. So there's a bunch of people building. There's obviously now. In my old age, I see a lot of venture capital floating into Lisbon as well. So it's great. It's great. There's a ton of people building good stuff.
There's always been it's always been a good place for I guess quote unquote indie hackers to go, right? It used to be a great remote spot to work remotely, and I think it's got quite a vibrant digital nomad population, if I'm not mistaken.
100%.
Why was that? Why was that such a haven for people to go there and do that?
It's a combination of things, right? So Portugal has always been historically the one of the key destinations in Europe for vacation because of the weather, because of the food, etc. And also people are just friendly and nice. There's also for a few years, I want to say, I don't know, maybe starting at around 2018 to maybe 2 years ago, because of pretty crypto-friendly regulation, a bunch of people just moved to Lisbon or Portugal in general because of crypto. That whole vibe has kind of shifted, not the vibe on crypto, but just people moving because of it. But Lisbon itself has kind of cemented itself as one of the hubs for entrepreneurship in Europe.
That's so cool.
I love that.
But it's the weather, right? It's the weather and the food.
It's probably a big help. Super hot and amazing food. Maybe the event itself. Can we hear more about was it a one-day thing? Was it a multiple-day thing? Can we hear about who was speaking there? What was some of the stuff that you guys were discussing? We'd love to dig into it more.
Totally, yeah. So the event was 2 days. It was the last Monday and Tuesday, and we had people from Cursor, 11 Labs, Lovable, let just the people actually building the thing. In fact, when we decided to run LisbonAI, our goal really was to put the builders in the room, not make it very salesy, which is what you sometimes get from some of these events, right? Especially when something is as, I was going to say bubbly, but let's just stick to it. Bubbly as AI, right? That's what you get. So some sales pitches, we tried to avoid that. And so we got, I want to say like 60% technical talks and about 40% of everything else, including, going as deep as the ethics of AI. Or should we actually be building this thing? Should we be putting our money and resources and attention into it? And I think it was successful from that perspective, just kind of capturing both angles to that. I think they're both necessaries, right? So you should meet the excitement with skepticism or maybe just questioning, right? I think we all need to know whether we're building the right thing, paying attention to all the right things along the way, because obviously AI is going to bring a lot of opportunity, but also some very meaningful risks, right? We're going to see those. We should all be getting ready for that.
100%. I want to go back into the history of you working, at TechCrunch, and what did you learn? In those early days, you mentioned that you've rubbed shoulders with people who built companies that are now household names too. I want to dive deep into the learnings that you had from those days.
Man, look, if I'm honest, and you guys just had Tobias on, and I was listening, and you were talking about just what is it? If you build in the Bay Area, the risk is lower and also the opportunity is bigger. I think that's true. If anything, if I reflect back, because this was so many years ago, 20 years ago, right? At this point, 19, 18, but certainly a long time ago. I think that if I reflect on it, the thing that is very obvious is that the distribution, and that is kind of the thing that Europe still needs, right? But everything else, if we think about it, entrepreneurship is just like this global thing. It's not even a global thing. It's just something that you have or you don't. It's a cultural thing. It's a culture, I would say. So I could be just spitting out platitudes, right? The people that I saw actually get things done and actually get to great outcomes, right, are the people that have the grit, that put in the time. Not that, work-life balance is always a consideration, but you can see there's a correlation between putting the time in, putting the attention in, and getting, just getting to success. Is it the same building back in the US versus building in Europe? Certainly not, right? There are different things. From a regulation perspective, from a geography perspective, there's a number of things that are vastly different between these two territories. But I think that the lessons that you see in the US kind of map pretty cleanly to the lessons you would extract if you were to just pluck knowledge from the main businesses of Europe. I think they'd be pretty much the same. It's all the same game.
Yeah, definitely. And do you find you using the learnings that you had from the early days, like applying to kind of, I guess, helping build LisbonAI, but also the companies that you work with as a VC too?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's one of my privileges, right? So I keep saying that I was very fortunate because I landed very early into something that put me in the epicenter of just technology entrepreneurship in general, right? And so that allowed me to see how things actually get made, and that then translates to the people that I want in the room if I'm organizing something that happens in a room, the people that I want on my team if I'm building something, et cetera, right? So I think that privilege is and that luck is something that I cherish. I'm very aware of that.
Mm-hmm. And with like, I guess more on, I'm just really interested about like the TechCrunch, like first employee at TechCrunch is kind of crazy, I think, and especially, I mean, part of like why we built this show, right, was that TechCrunch Europe, unfortunately, is no longer a thing. I mean, I think they kind of tried to come back a little bit where it was like, oh, don't worry, we're still kind of here, but like everyone kind of got the message. whether that was like a smart business decision, if it's like based off like the bottom line, and then then that's a decision that a business has to make. We shouldn't like get annoyed at that or anything, but they still do have so much influence, right? They are, I guess, in the same way that you Uber it to somewhere. Like if you're a pre-seed seed tech startup, it's kind of like, oh, did you get your TechCrunch feature? It's like did you get your? It's kind of like a badge of honor, stamp of approval type thing. What was it like? I guess like employee number one. Like, what's the type of stuff you're doing there? Like, are you literally just running around SF and just speaking to as many people as possible? Like, what does that look like?
So if we're gonna open the kimono, so interestingly, back then most of the interesting startups were not necessarily in San Francisco. Some of them were, but some of them were closer to Menlo Park, Palo Alto, Atherton, which is where we were. But yes, it very much involves running around these places, talking to people in garages, like literal garages, which is not common these days. But that was certainly part of it back in the day. Being first to that was lucky, right? It was I was writing, Mike Arrington was writing, and we were both writing. And at some point, I got an email saying, "Why don't you come to California and write with me?" The interesting thing that just kind of resonates with what you were just saying is how powerful, quote unquote, TechCrunch was back then, and I'm sure that there are similar things today, but a piece on TechCrunch back then, it was such an exponential, the growth of TechCrunch and the growth of the industry, how we paid attention to news that were written down. A post on TechCrunch would sometimes mean an acquisition. I heard of several acquisitions based on posts that one of us wrote, and so that's obviously still true, right? If you're in the news, you get better outcomes. And so that was interesting, fun, but also very sobering, right? Because how do you even deal with that? We could go on and on about those stories, but yeah, it's significant. It was a very interesting time in my career, and I think that in general for the industry, because that's when YouTube showed up, that's when Y Combinator started, et cetera, right? All these things were happening at the same time.
Yeah. I want to deep dive a little bit on, and I know we're running over, so if you need to go, then just let us know. But I want to deep dive on this new media shift and what you're, from having that experience and kind of all these kind of new media players coming out. What do you see? Like, what do you see the thing working in media now, especially in this kind of tech bubble that we're in, or like tech ecosystem that we're in? Where do you see the kind of delta and the winning formulas playing out?
Yeah, that's a great question, and in fact, me and Ronan had when we met a few weeks ago, we had a good conversation around this topic too, right? The honest answer is I don't know. It is the answer that maps the most to reality, right? I don't know, which is why this whole new ecosystem is so exciting. Not new ecosystem, but the way that it has shifted, but. If I think about what makes me excited, where I go for news, part of it is still the same tools that I used before, still the same blog, still the same pages. But part of it is not, right? And I hate that I'm about to say what I'm about to say, but I think, and I said this to Ronan as well. I think we're in the vibes culture that is, that's just true, right? I think there's a new way to promote brands. I think there's a new aesthetic to it as well. I would like to just very confidently say, oh, Twitter is the name of the game now. It's always been, kinda, right? It feels like that's not entirely true these days. Not super true, but still. I have a feeling that we're yet to fully uncover what it means to be successful in media these days. But you have great examples of companies that became super popular just because they made a video or because they bet on a specific aesthetic on Twitter, or they exploited some algorithm thing about TikTok, which I frankly have not really used. But the way that the media landscape is shifting is interesting. And also there's the whole podcast angle. Podcasts have been around for so many years. I think I was writing on TechCrunch about Odeo, which is the startup that predated Twitter even. That's what they were working on when they built Twitter. It was a podcasting application, right? And a platform. It was so early then, but it feels so appropriate now. Podcasts are literally it for everybody. Video podcasts, live shows like the one we're on. I think there's something here. It's the discovery that I think I'm still conflicted on. What does that actually look like? But clearly people find the best stuff. Clearly it's vibes. We're in the vibes area. Some things very obviously resonate with people. And I'm still glad that I'm super glad that people are still finding ways to get to their audience, which, if you think about it, years ago was much harder, right? Because getting to TechCrunch was a very high bar after a while. Now I feel like anyone can kind of start a live show. Not that anyone can do what you guys do, for example, but anyone can kind of try, right?
The barrier to entry is
available
definitely
to
lower.
people.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, again, we'll probably have to jump pretty shortly, but like it's what we mentioned in terms of like barrier to entry is lower because cost is lower, which, I think you see therefore more people do it, therefore you see quality shift down. And I think that as we talk about loads on the show, is like the delta now is just like taste and craft and putting in the hours in terms of not just
showing that time has been put into it. So
100%.
Literally that. But we are unfortunately out of time. We've got our next guest coming in, but Fred, sorry for the earlier technical difficulties. It's so good to talk to you, and
no worries whatsoever.
I mean, we probably could have done a whole episode just sat down with you, Fred.
No worries whatsoever. Have an amazing show.
Good stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, dude.
See you, folks.
Ciao.
Bye.
Man, that's so cool.
Just got coming in live that
cool.
The Matt Clifford is 10 minutes late. So we will do the show as normal. We'll do some news stuff. And
I just got rid of Fred.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to stop.
Yeah, well, if you jump back in,
I want to touch. So we were just talking about new media and how media is changing and all that kind of stuff. I want to touch on what Eric Turenberg just released at a16z, the a16z new media role, I guess, or like, is it an incubator, something like that? And let me just read this out. I think it's worth probably getting this on the screen when we can. But I'll read it out. An important part of a16z's original story, which you may already know, is that we were founded by Mark and Ben to be CAA for the tech industry. When Michael Orvitz founded CAA, the creative arts agency, in 1975, Hollywood was completely controlled by a few dozen big entities who served as gatekeepers to the entertainment industry. Orvitz built CAA to help the creative actors and artists build franchises of their own terms, and forever changed how entertainment worked. Half a century later, similar transition is happening in tech, or at least has half happened. The old guard of legacy capital, legacy media, and legacy distribution can now be sidestepped. Anyone can go viral and gain relevance for a day, but what do you think? But what do you do with this? As a founder, what would you want from your VC whose purpose is to give you power and legitimacy to navigate media today? And it's an interesting question. Obviously, I could probably read the whole thing, but there's no point. Go and read it. But VC's value add, maybe like 10, 15-ish years ago, was one of their value adds was being able to provide that distribution, getting into, say, a TechCrunch, getting into those publications that gave you the distribution to then, kickstart some form of, customer interaction, right? Now it is purely, as you said, the barrier to entry is just lower. And so what a16z have done, the barrier to entry is lower. So they've then gone, okay, quality has dropped. We're just going to absolutely 10x the quality of our content and new media. And that's how we're going to play in the field. And that's how we're going to attack or stay like relevant, I guess.
It's funny, bro, because like what they're saying, the way they talk about it is really cool with the line, the momentum they need to win narrative battle online, which is like super powerful. But what's interesting is like, it's almost, when we were talking earlier with Andreas, the GP at SpeedInvest, and I asked him, is this like a competitions funnel in terms of like early VCs, their value add is they have the cash.
Yeah.
Then loads of VCs pop up and they've all got the cash. Okay, I'm VC number one. I need to think like, okay, now we've all got the cash, so I have no comparative advantage. Now I need to hire like industry expert who's like verticalized in semiconductors, whatever. Now I've got a comparative advantage for this one niche. Let me hire. You know what I mean? Like, and then all the other VCs will react. Now we need to get one of those because now he's like winning on deals.
Right.
So like, it's next step. Everyone's constantly like competing with each other. This looks like it will be the new signal to the market that people, like all VCs, will probably have to start doing this. And we saw this a while back, I think, in terms of like it's what we started to show, right? Like so many amazing players in the space doing it already. Like if you look at Harry Stebbings, what they're saying here really is like, we can help you
with distribution.
So
new media support is what they're saying. Our offer to portcos, and some are currently live, some aren't. There's a schematic. You should get it up if you scroll down to the craft of storytelling. I'll read it out and then we'll go to the schematic or the table. Launching a product or a brand requires a tremendous amount of attention to detail. Yes, you can go viral and get lucky, but preparation is a big part of luck. We offer an extensive menu of services for our portfolio companies up and down the new media stack that add up to one experience, shipping a great story. We've been there before. We know what it takes. Essentially what they've done is mapped out your motion, the whole motion from launching to actually creating the brand that you want to create. So you've got launch, then comms, communication, growth, brand, and amplify. Launch, I'm not going to list them all out, but that comes with pre and post production, production actually, that kind of stuff.
It's like high production,
copywriting, making sure you get the your story across. Early days, right? Then comms. Then it comes like making sure as you grow, you're getting into the right channels and all of this kind of stuff, and that's their edge as well. Then growth, content, social media. I think that's where like real growth comes from, and I think VCs can tap into that, and not enough are doing it, and therefore a16z are kind of leading that charge. And then brand, everything about the way it makes your customers feel, and that you can see it over multiple industries, not now just consumer, but defense tech is bringing some taste into the game, which is now their delta to. I don't know if it wins contracts right now, but what it does do is bring sentiment.
It brings attention.
It brings attention and positive sentiment to the company. It reinforces their ability to win the market, and therefore maybe indirectly wins deals.
What I'm seeing in this there's actually loads of stuff in here that we were including in our angel pitch from 3 months ago.
Are you saying that we're a
few months back?
Same level?
No, God no. Absolutely.
I'm joking.
Who are we to compare ourselves to a16z and other likes in the industry? But I like the fact that this is super valuable. Everyone should read this, especially if you're in a pre-seed seed startup. It's incredibly valuable. Obviously, we're slightly biased because it's a space that we sit in, the intersection of media and technology. But all these small things that we're seeing in terms of pre-seed and seed startups are now prioritizing graphic designers as a really early hire. Mm-hmm. Everyone's now doing high production launch videos. If you look at a16z and their Twitter profile, they've become so aware of this taste and high quality production in this new wave of media and consumption that even the point here about the clip of Mark Andreessen talking about why hyperlinks are blue. It's a great video. It's an interesting video, and it got millions and millions of views. But if you look at their X profile prior to the acquisition of the Turpentine Podcast Network, and when I think it was, and also TBPN's ex-head of growth, Brian, moving over, their X profile was vastly different to what it looks like now.
Yeah.
Now it is the only VC platform who has fully embraced new media and is using it incredibly well.
Yeah.
And reaping the benefits from it.
Yeah.
they're the only one doing it. So there's value in that. They could be the only one doing it and be doing it badly and they still get value, but they're the only one doing it and they're doing it incredibly well. We will see.
I think to add, they're the only one doing it in this tiny ecosystem. Like they're the only one doing it in VC. Yeah. Because I think the you've got creatives on social media that storytelling very, very well for, say, like a brand like Yeti. They're hiring creatives to go out into Norway or whatever. Go out into the mountains in Norway and film some unbelievable footage. A one-man girl band, whatever, where it's them, a truck, and a Yeti flask. And that's it, right?
Yeah. And that's very like UGC focus for like,
but like super high quality UGC. There's multiple, like a multitude of kind of like angles, but that kind of sits on the top of the stack. And what A16Z are doing are every single bit of content that comes out of their portcos is being touched by A16Z to amplify the quality.
Yeah, so it's just like another, hey, you should take our money again, because not only are we have the money, we have the vertical.
We have a distribution arm.
Yeah.
Go to market is not necessarily, you don't need to hire in-house for go to market, because we outsource it for you.
Yeah. And that's probably why, like, if you think about it really, like why 20VC probably wins, or like has like a competitive advantage against
huge competitive advantage.
Other people they're going up against, right? Like, yes, they've got an amazing team, and they're very well funded, but they can also, fix for AI, right? Added $1 million ARR on top of, I think it was more than that. I can't remember. Maybe it was $1 million ARR because Harry wrote like a good thread on them.
Yeah.
Like that is like not only like, oh yeah, it's a value add because they have distribution. Like that is literally adding $1 million. There's a financial value to that, what I mean? Like you can quantify it specifically.
Exactly. I think we have Matt on the show.
I think we are live with Matt on the show.
Matt, how's it going?
Yes, we are. Can you hear us?
I'm well, thanks. Hi, Ronan. Hi, Luke.
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can, loud and clear. Welcome to the European Technology Network.
Thank you so much for joining us.
So good to have you with us.
Great to be here.
I think we owe you a happy birthday from the other day as well.
From yesterday, yeah, that's right.
How was the birthday?
Yeah, I spent it mainly doing childcare, which is the glamorous consequence of 40.
Well, that sounds like an absolute blast.
Yeah. Very, very
to
fun.
celebrate the big 4-0. Whilst we were just talking about new media and the rise of what A16Z are doing in the US at the moment. They've released a lot of cool stuff around that. But I want to shift very quickly on to, I'd just love to get straight into it if you're...
Yeah, let's do it.
If you're cool. Maybe, Matt, if you could give it an introduction to who you are, for those who don't know. And then we'd love to fire off some questions about the speech at LFG.
Great, yeah. So, it's great to be here. My name is Matt Clifford. I'm one of the co-founders of Entrepreneurs First, which is a global incubator of technology companies that I started 14 years ago with my friend and co-founder Alice Benting. What we do is we help people build companies from scratch by bringing exceptional individuals together, usually before they have a team or even an idea, and creating an environment and a kind of cultural background in which ambition is celebrated and they can go on to achieve great things. So we've built a bunch of companies over that time. Today they're worth about $14 billion and going strong. And over the last 3 years, I've been particularly obsessed with this question of how do we make sure that the UK benefits from the acceleration of science and technology. So I've sort of expressed that in a few ways, as well as building EF. I'm the chair of ARIA, the Advanced Research and Invention Agency, which is sort of like a UK take on DARPA, doing breakthrough R&D for the benefit of the UK and the world. And then I also served the last two governments as the AI advisor, wrote the current government's AI strategy, which is called the AI Opportunities Action Plan. So that's me.
Maybe the coolest introduction we've had on the show so far. We're honored to have you here, Matt. I mean, like you've been getting a lot of attention in the last few days, specifically after your
last few weeks.
Sorry, after the speech at Looking for Growth, which was absolutely tremendous, by the way. It went pretty viral on X, and we'd love to hear I mean, obviously not just recite the whole speech, but we'd love to hear some of the themes within that, right? This narrative on making the UK and Britain rich again, of course, is kind of like a staple anchor. It seems to be now quite a catchy
people wanting to put it on hats, basically.
Yeah. It's cappable, I'd say. Right? You can put it on a cap.
Yeah. So I think, what's your take from kind of, going viral?
Let me maybe give a tiny bit of background on how it came about, and then I happily talk through like why I gave that speech and what I mean by it. The LFG is a group started by a very impressive guy called Lawrence Newport, and I like to say, sort of bridging my worlds, like Lawrence has founder energy. Like if I met him at an EF interview, I'd be like, I want to fund this guy. He's done some remarkable things. But his latest thing is LFG, looking for growth, which starts from the correct observation that the UK has seen over a decade of stagnation. And if we want to change that, we need not just a political movement, but a cultural movement. And so he put on a couple of weeks ago this event called Make or Break, bringing together speeches from across the political spectrum, Labour MP, Conservative MP, people like me who are sort of entrepreneurs, investors. And really the whole purpose of that event was to sort of do movement building around this idea that actually stagnation is a choice and that we can choose growth. The funny thing about it, as you said, like I gave a speech on the theme of Make Britain Rich Again. It's a 15-minute speech. And I didn't know it was being recorded. So at the end of it, I came off stage and I said to Lawrence, I was like, that was actually better than I thought. I kind of wish we'd recorded it. He said, oh, no, we did record it. I was like, oh, okay, I can show it to my mom. I think it's now had about 1 million views across my Twitter account, LFG's Twitter account, LinkedIn, other channels. And the reason for that is I think it has, in articulating a thing lots of people have been thinking and saying, I think it has sort of hit a nerve. And the core idea here is that we have a ton to be proud of in this country. If you think about like what is the engine of economic growth? It's science and technology. It's the ability to do more with less, to have ideas where by piecing together the building blocks of the world and human activity together, you get more, you get amazing things. If you look at British history, people from the UK have been responsible for a bunch of those things. And my argument is that we should capture that idea and reimagine it for the 21st century. But doing that will require a set of choices that are different from the ones we've been making over the last decade. And one thing I really wanted to emphasize in the speech, and I think this came across, and it seems to be a segment that people really liked and shared, is this isn't a left-right thing. Like the whole point of this message of Make Britain Rich Again is whatever you care about, whatever your end goal is, you need to be able to pay for it. And Britain risks being a country where through economic stagnation, our ability or even our willingness to pay for the future that we want disappears over time. And I don't want to live in a country that's like that. And that's why I gave the speech.
Wow. So
that's awesome.
It's so good to hear that. And you had no idea until you saw it, like afterwards go viral, that like it was being filmed, or?
Lawrence told me on the night after the speech that it was, but I mean, she probably told me before, and I just hadn't realized it's a busy period. But it was very surprising to me that it went viral. But I do think that there are, I think it was partly driven by people who are in the entrepreneurial community or in the tech community, or who think of themselves as builders one way or another. And I think that's a group of people, and I use that phrase, like we've got to back our builders, not just about tech entrepreneurs, but about people building physical infrastructure, people building houses, people building in government. Like there's lots of ways that you can be a builder. But I think that group of people feel that actually mainstream political discourse hasn't been speaking to them. And I think it did capture their imagination.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to touch on. Obviously, you have like some amazing influence in LFG and post this speech. What are you guys doing at Entrepreneurs First? Like on the ground. Like, what does your kind of like day look like to kind of make this what you said in the speech like happen? Obviously, you're doing some amazing stuff. I want to kind of dive deeper into the actions that you're taking on a day-to-day basis.
So when Alice and I started EF, the the core reason we started it was really as a sort of reaction against our own career choices. So we started our career, both of us, we met as management consultants. We were working at McKinsey, a big consultancy in London. And it was a great place in a lot of ways. We learned a lot. We met each other, we made great friends. But the funny thing was, around that time, a bunch of people our sort of age, we were in our 20s, started leaving McKinsey to start tech companies. We were like, well, that's interesting, because although you learn a lot here, it's not the obvious thing that you want to build a tech company, so you go be a management consultant. That's just sort of weird. And, we had this idea, which I think is one of the things we were right about. When you start a company, you're wrong about a million things, but it's important to be right about one or two big things. I think one of the things we were right about is that actually growth in a country depends a lot on what the most ambitious people choose to do with their lives. And actually in the UK, for a long period of time, I think this is one of the big underlying, not the only, but one of the big underlying reasons for stagnation in this country. For a long time, the message that we were telling in universities, in television, whatever, to our most ambitious and talented people is, if you're really ambitious, go be a banker, go work in finance, go work in professional services. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of the, a lot of the energy in those spaces is a bit zero sum. Not always, but it's sort of like you're basically moving money around. Sometimes that's a really valuable thing. We need finance, obviously. In some ways, as a VC, I am a financier. But what I think is a big difference between Silicon Valley and the UK is that in Silicon Valley, if you got a job offer from Goldman Sachs, maybe the most prestigious investment bank, or you had the opportunity to start a company, it'd be kind of obvious that you need to start a company in Silicon Valley. That's just obviously what you should do culturally. It's in the water, it's in the air, that's what you do. That's not true in the UK, certainly wasn't true 14 years ago. And so a big part of what we do at EF is about trying to shift the mindset of the most ambitious young people in the UK and get them to think about the possibility of founding as a way to express their ambition. So what that means in practice is we employ at EF a large number of what we call talent investors. You can think of them as sort of talent scouts whose job is to just go out and find people who are capable of exceptional things. And the job is not to persuade people who don't want to be entrepreneurs that they should be. That would be insane. Their job is to sort of provide a path into building, into being one of those builders that we already talked about. To provide that environment, we obviously give people capital, network, etc. But how do we shift people from wanting to be bankers and management consultants into wanting to be entrepreneurs? That's what we do.
Yeah, definitely. And I mentioned it earlier on the show. I recently watched an interview of the founder and CEO of Bending Spoons, an Italian company recently valued at $11.7 billion. Incredible company. And what he was saying, why he didn't want to build in, say, the US, which was an obvious kind of thing to go and do when he started the company. And obviously they have operations over in the US, but they built out of Italy, right? Was he wanted to be a beacon for for other entrepreneurs to almost like show, amazing companies can be built in this region. And you can see it with Lovable in Stockholm. We had someone on talking about that as well. Where do you think the UK specifically, how can we, I feel like that there needs to be like an anchor point. And I think that's probably why we started ETN, or one of the reasons was because we feel like we want to highlight people like you who, entrepreneurs can look at through our medium and be like, oh, I can do this here. I'm not defaulting to say the SF or places like that. I'm defaulting to, I just want to build something, and what's the lowest friction place I can go and do it is the UK, right? Where do you see the biggest anchor point for that?
I think that's such a great question. Let me first say something about the US that I think is really important. So for those of us that want to see Britain get rich again and want to see Europe thrive, I think it's really important that the relationship or the way we view the US is not one of antagonism. I don't think we should blame founders for going to the US.
I agree.
We should blame ourselves for not building the ecosystem where they want to build. And the reason I say that is that I think we shouldn't be trying to create barriers for people leaving. We should be trying to make this great. And I actually think, and this is something we do at EF, that actually one of the very best things for Europe is if our best founders, our most ambitious people, get a full immersion in Silicon Valley early in their careers and understand why it's different and why so many of the world's most iconic companies have been built there, how ambition is talked about, how it's accepted and celebrated, how capital flows, how belief and trust make that easier. These are really important things that we shouldn't try and invent from first principles. We don't have to like reinvent that. We should be trying to do them in Europe. So how, to answer your question directly, how can we do that? I think we've got to pick areas where we can play and win. And in a way, there's a common theme across my work at EF, at ARIA, and in government. You know, I'm obviously really biased because I've spent the last 10 years sort of evangelizing it and investing in it and working in it, which is AI. Like, it's really easy because of the success, again, which we should celebrate and recognize of OpenAI and Anthropic, to think of SF as the natural and obvious place to build an AI company. I actually think that's not obviously true. I'm actually sitting right now in King's Cross, and I can see the Google DeepMind offices from where I'm sitting out this window. And we should celebrate that. Demis Hassabis is a global legend that built the original AGI lab here in the UK. And as a result of that, we not only still have thousands of researchers doing some of the world's best work in AI here in London, but we have all these spin-offs and spin-outs and sort of ecosystem organizations that have come out of that. I think a particularly special place for the UK to play is at the intersection of AI and science. And Demis won his Nobel Prize for AlphaFold, which is right at the heart of that. I can see, if I look out the window on that side of the building, the Crick Institute, one of the largest sort of biotechnology institutes in the world. ARIA here, we're running an AI for Science program where we're going to be backing people that want to build in the application of AI to science. We've done a bunch of investments at EF in that space. Now, I'm not saying that's the only vertical, but I think there's a very strong argument today that if you want to build a globally important AI for science company, you should be doing it here in the UK, here in London, actually here in King's Cross. I think there's probably like 4 or 5 of those that we could pick out where it's like, yeah, this is plausibly the best place in the world to amass the talent needed to do that. And we should be going in hard on those ideas.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, your old AI lab was in
Convergence, one of Balderson's pre-seed companies that was in King's Cross. It was nice being there. We always said that we should just stick like pieces of A4 paper instead of like trying to hire people on LinkedIn. Just stick it outside, facing out towards the DeepMind office, and just be like, can you guys come and work over here instead?
Great. And we're also like, we're pretty much in King's Cross at the moment as well. So we can't be too far away.
Yeah, we'll be heading there after this show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So agree.
I'm conscious of your time. Do we have time for maybe another question?
I can go a few more minutes, yeah.
Okay, there's something that I want to, and feel free to not answer the question, but we've been seeing on X that a few people have been pledging money to the possibility of somebody, maybe you, running for Prime Minister. Do you have anything to say around these rumors that we're seeing?
Well, I was very amused and flattered by this, and I think it confused a lot of journalists who I haven't seen you announce a candidacy for this because I have not. These are very kind and well-meaning people, but look, I've as my wife likes to say, I've already got 2 jobs and I don't need a third. I think what it does show, and the serious point here is that I do think that mainstream politicians need to find a language for speaking to this community. And I do think our builders, in every sense of the word, are the people that are going to rebuild the UK, are going to reignite economic growth. And I do think we need a political, kind of movement that speaks to that. And I think that, we're clearly at a moment of extraordinary political volatility in the UK, have been, you could argue, for several years. And I think that actually the energy of the people around this movement pledging money, but the people that saw that speech and responded to it, I think that energy is up for grabs for someone that makes the right pitch to it. And I do think there's a risk of as treating the builders in this country, the founders, the scientists, the technologists, as sort of assets that can just be sort of milked, as it were. I don't think that's the right way to build a great economy and a great ecosystem. I think the right way to do it is to back the builders, to deliver the economic growth that we need. And I think if someone were to make that case very forcefully, I think they'd find there's a ton of energy and activity and support up for grabs.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Well, look, thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it. I'm sure you're getting lots of interview requests after it all blowing up. But yeah, I'm so bullish on.
This is the only one I've done, guys. I wanted it to be in the spirit of the speech. So I'm a big fan of what you're doing and appreciate the invitation.
I appreciate it.
It means the world, Matt. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll make sure to frame this as exclusive with Matt.
Exclusive insight.
Exactly.
Good stuff. Really nice to meet you, Matt. And yeah, I'm sure we'll speak again at some point.
We certainly will. Take care. Thanks, guys.
Good stuff.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Oh, that's cool. Super cool.
That is super cool.
Let me just tell you about your friends at AirWallex. Leave outdated business banking behind. It's the all-in-one financial platform built for pace of modern businesses, multi-currency accounts, high-speed international transfers, corporate cards, expense management, and online payments. And it's all in one platform, Luke. All of it. All in one platform.
Exciting stuff. And they gave us a McLaren, so just go and
they gave us a McLaren.
Maybe they give you one too if you sign up to. So exciting stuff. That was an awesome episode. Had a few technical difficulties, but we
overcame them.
Godspeed.
We overcame them. We moved forward.
We move forward. Let's do this. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you on Thursday. Love you loads. Bye.